Let me feel your love again.
Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Sunny, and we are back with another episode 4 of the Let's Vibe Code With Me series, where I teach you how to vibe code the right way in this crazy evolving AI space right now. We're going to be building an accounting B2B SaaS. We've never done that on the channel ever. We've never ever built an accounting B2B SaaS on this channel, and I think it's truly actually a massively valuable build. We've got a ton of changes, including a new laptop, so hopefully this whole stream is smooth. Smash that like button if you enjoy this content I've been pushing on the channel lately, and of course don't forget to subscribe. When we go ahead and let that beat drop, I'm going to dive into the build. Let me know where you're watching from right now. This is a brand new build on this channel, and we're doing it in a way that we've never ever done before. An unplanned build where I show you from scratch how I would approach the whole thing, from planning to building to launching. Go ahead and get ready, guys. The accounting B2B SaaS. Let's get it. So here we have it. This is going to be the design effectively. So here I'm on Dribble. So that's effectively where I would start. Hey, we got South Africa in the house. What is up, guys? Look at this. So we've got the Quickbooks style setup. Now, if you don't know what Quickbooks is, it's simply an accounting app, right? So Quickbooks is one example. Another very popular one is Xero. Okay, so Xero is another one. So it's just like an accounting software for small businesses. Basically, why do you need accounting softwares and why are they really good? And why are we using this as inspiration for today's build? Because if you have an accounting software, effectively what you can do is you can add invoices, receipts, tax tracking, all that stuff. It's massively valuable for businesses. And I'm going to show you how you can build the entire thing to, one, use internally for your own business, and two, go ahead and make it your own company if you want to, okay? So we're going to dive straight into exactly what this includes, how we're going to do it. It's going to have customer management. We're going to have graphs, charts, the whole thing, invoice management, the whole nice, beautiful flow. And even maybe the fact of, being able to print out your own PDFs. We can do a ton of stuff here, right? A ton of stuff. And we've even got role-based access control, organizations. This is a full build. It's absolutely huge. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into things straight off the bat, right? Now, the first step that I want you to do, and hey, look at this. We've got India in the house, Nigeria, UK. Oh, nice. USA as well. What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and close these out. Let's go ahead and prepare a few things. Now, at the end of the video, I'll send out all the source code. So all I ask that you need to do to go ahead and get that is sign up to the link in the description, where you can be a part of our new community, Xero to AI Agent Hero. So you guys can feel free to sign up there. And not only when I launch the community will you get first access, because we're going to make it a waitlist style setup, but also every build that I go ahead and drop, you can get the entire code base by going ahead and signing up here on this screen right here, okay? So the link to that is in the description. Let's go ahead and jump into the tech stack today. And of course, our friends over at Clerk make this entirely possible, because we're going to be powering a ton of this stuff today by using Clerk. So we're using authentication from Clerk. We're going to be using B2B authentication from them. Clerk is incredible. They handle every kind of authentication we could possibly dream of inside of an app, including multi-tenancy, which is what we're going to be doing today. And if you haven't done multi-tenancy before, this is incredibly powerful and incredibly valuable. So smash that thumbs up button, get excited, because I promise you this build is going to be full of value. It's going to be absolutely nuts, right? We also have subscription billing inside of our app as well. So I'm going to show you how to gate certain features based on what plan a organization is in. And then based on the plan that they're in, all of the team members will be that will have those features of that plan. And we're also going to have permissions. So tons of stuff. You're probably wondering, how is he going to do this when he hasn't even planned it all? I'm going to show you everything. And this is me being totally vulnerable on stream, by the way, because it's literally the least planned stream, which is the best way that I feel we can teach you, okay? So first thing I want you to do is the first link in the description. Go ahead and create an account on Clerk. It's absolutely free. We're going to click on Google right now. I'm going to sign into my account. You can do the same. The link is in the first link is in the description. By signing up using that link, guys, I can keep on doing this for free. So please use that link. It makes a huge difference, okay? So sign up using that link. Let's go ahead and create our first account. And then we're going to give our app a name. Now, guys, give me a name, right? The whole app is going to be determined by you guys. So give me a name for this accounting app right now, and we can start building it together, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click on Create Application. And we can call R1, firstly, I wait for you guys to give a name, I'm going to determine my sign-in method. So in this case, we could have email, phone number, Google, Facebook. They make it so easy here. I'm going to go ahead and assume, you could do really whatever you want here to keep it low. Wow, you could even do 0. Oh my God, that's cool. In this case, I might just keep it simple. Imagine our user base is the 3, Google, Facebook, Apple is pretty fine, okay? And then for this, we can give it a templated name for the backend, or we could give it an action name. Maybe we call it Accountly. Accountly. Is that a bit crap? I don't know. Accountly. That's a bit boring. We can call this one Countify. Okay. Countify. I like that. Countify is called. Someone said my app, super original, guys. Countify. Okay. Countify. Let's keep it as that. I kind of like that. Countify. All right, so Countify is our app name. There you go. So I told you guys, Harpreet Singh, well done, dude. There you go. You got named. Okay, so first thing we can do is we have to go ahead and set up Clerk. Now you can do it this way, right? And you can grab your keys, or you can just copy your prompt and pop it into Cursor. We're going to be using Cursor today. You can feel free to use whatever you want. But the actual easier way that I'm going to show you how to do it is we're going to be using Convex to set things up. So go to convex.com. I think it's convex.com. Convex.dev. And then I want you to go to documentation. And I'm just going to run you through it exactly as I would. Go to Next.js, and then this is the command you need. npm create convex at latest. You want to copy that, and then we go over to our terminal. Now, inside the terminal, you can really put this wherever you want. I like to keep things pretty neat, so I have mine in documents builds. And then we're going to do npm create convex at latest, and we're just going to start this off. Okay. Now it's going to ask us a couple of questions. Okay, to proceed, yes. This is a new laptop, so need to be a bit careful. Maybe, some stuff isn't installed, so could be good teaching moment. Countify, we're going to say Countify for the package. Let's just call it Countify YouTube build, right? So for me, this is my internal name. And then we need to select our client. So in this case, I'm going to say Next.js app router. We're going to use Clerk, requires Clerk account, absolutely fine. And then this is going to install the dependencies with npm. And then we're going to do our planning session in just a moment, okay? So this is just preparing ourselves for the base of our app. And then we're going to dive right into the real cool coding stuff. And we're going to start planning our features, using AI to help us out with all of that. And of course, this is worth mentioning that this build is going to be using AI, right? So I'm going to be teaching you how to correctly use it, steer it, and get, good results out of it. So you can start building your own apps without delay, right? And even creating those feedback loops to learn yourself. So I'm going to be showing you all of that. And of course, with that, I do want to mention that I have the Cursor Max plan, so the $200 plan. You don't need it, right? You actually don't need it, but just know that if you want to use the best models, then of course you can upgrade it as you need, as you see fit, right? Okay, so now we're inside of our directory. I'm just going to do cursor dot, and this will spin up cursor. There we go. So I can go ahead and close this out, right? Now we have our starting point. So the first step I want to do is Command J to pull this up, Command I. And I notice with Convex, they don't tend to actually include a git init. So in this case, we're just going to do git init firstly, and that way we have our initial commit. That's a lot cleaner. There is already a git ignore file. That's perfect. And then we're just going to simply create a .env.local file, right? And guys, speak to me a lot in this build because I'm going to be running, I really want to steer these builds according to how you guys talk to me, okay? I'm going to go ahead and go to Clerk, copy the environment keys, and we're going to paste it in here. Now, it's worth mentioning that these are private keys, okay? So, of course, don't show your keys. I'm going to invalidate these afterwards, but you don't want to go ahead and show off your keys too early, right? So just never show your keys. All right. Hey, we got Tatiana, beautiful, in the house. What's up? Just watching live, you understand. Okay, thank you. So Beckel says, what is Convex and what does it do? Convex is essentially a real-time database with a bunch of other functions, right? So we've got Clerk handling the authentication, the organization, the B2B, all of that stuff. And then we also have Convex as well. Tatiana, you can fully come and get it. It's fine. You can just run past me and grab it. There's not an issue. Just grab it. So at this point, like I said before, if you want to get access to the entire code base after the build is done, simply sign up to the form in the description. We'll send it out to you. But let's dive into our plan. So how do we go ahead and start planning it out? We've got Quickbooks, Xero Clone plan, and let's go ahead and vibe code it. So what I want you to do is first up, we're going to go ahead and determine the build. So in this case, we're using Next.js, right? In this case, Next.js 16. Then, of course, underneath it, we have Tailwind. So by using Tailwind CSS for the styling, that means I like to personally use ShadCN. right? So ShadCN is our component library we're going to effectively be using. Then we've got Clerk. Clerk handles the authentication. In particular, we're going to be using B2B authentication. Plus, we're going to be allowing for billing. Okay, so Clerk handles both of these. So we've got these two here. And then we're going to go ahead and do Convex. Now, Convex allows us to do quite a few things. We've got the real-time database side of things, so real-time database. And we also have things like cloud functions, all of this cool stuff, right? So we can do a lot from Convex, including webhooks, right? So the webhooks, what I mean by this is we actually tap in the webhooks from Clerk's authentication. So when a user is authenticated or any kind of event happens here, we're going to tap into the webhook on this side, and we're going to hit a cloud function, right? So that way a cloud function pings off every time an event happens from a webhook on Clerk, right? So if every time a user logs in from authentication, boom, we can do a cloud function. And that means that we can hit a cloud function, update the database, and keep everything in sync. Okay, so stuff like that. Ronald from Uganda, he goes, there's no one like you out there. You are a blessing to the dev community. I appreciate you so much, dude. Firstly, Sonny, learning from you has changed my life financially. More blessings and more awesome live sessions. That's what I'm talking about, Jay. Screenshot that. Absolutely appreciate and love you, Ronald. Thank you so much for sharing that, man. And honestly, I'm so grateful that I could help you out like that. Really makes my day. So thank you for sharing that. All right. Now, clerk-auth, we don't need Stripe to get this up and running, by the way, okay? But if you do want to go ahead and connect it to a production environment afterwards, you simply go ahead and just connect Stripe to Clerk Billing. It's super easy to go ahead and do that, and we can get that all sorted, okay? So very simple, right? Now, for the coding side of things, I am going to be planning using and basically doing this entire thing with Cursor. You can use Claude Code, you can use whatever it is. Remember, these AI concepts and fundamentals carry across, right? Plan mode, MCP, skills, plugins, whatever it is that you're using, you can go ahead and do all of that, right, yourself, okay? So in this case now, what I'm going to do is hide this out. We're done with the plan. Or actually, I mean, yeah, okay, we're done with the plan for now. I'm going to keep that actually. I've got an idea for later. Okay, so let's head back over to our Convex, and I want to do a couple of things, right? Firstly, we actually need to run our app. So pm dev is what I'm going to do. Now, you notice I said pm, although I set up with npm create. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to change this. So package lock, I'm going to get rid of my package lock, and I'm actually going to do a pm install. I prefer pm. Okay, so that's, in my opinion, I prefer pm, and that's just better for me. So I'm going to go ahead and install that. And then once that's done, we're going to go ahead and spin this app up. Now you can see inside of here, they give us a little bit of a like kind of demo starting point. And we're erroring out right now because we've got the, we haven't installed our dependencies, and it will get rid of that in just a moment. There you go. Okay, now to spin our app up, pm dev. Now what this will do is it will spin up Convex and our Next.js app at the same time. Okay, so by doing that, it will ask you to log into your Convex. Now, I've already logged into Convex, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. And I think I might have hit my quota, but we can see Counterfire YouTube build. Let's go ahead and call it that. We're going to do a cloud deployment. Okay, so I've hit my limit. So what I'm going to do is go to Convex right now and free up my limit. So we're going to log into my Convex account. And again, Convex is completely free. They have a huge amount of, what's it called? A free tier, so you can absolutely grow a business on the free tier alone. Someone dev sent goes, I have an issue typing pm fast, so I don't use it. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and do, oh, that's interesting. I've got on the wrong account. Okay, so bright data, let's go ahead and get rid of this one for now. Let's go back over there because, yeah, get rid of that, delete. And then now we've got a free project. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to, oops, not that. Let's do a pm dev again instead. Right, and we'll spin up the flow again, right? And I do like the pm dev command with this starter template, because if you go into package.json, you can see that basically is running two scripts. It runs in parallel, dev front end and back end, which are these two commands. So next dev and convex dev. Okay, now create a new project. Sunny Sanga team. I like this music. I want to get back to our Papa Fan playlist, right? So project name, let's go. Cloud deployment. And you know what, guys? And I also want to talk to you guys. It's been crazy. So I'll tell you what in a sec. Set up Convex AI files. Yes and no. I'll show you. Okay, just hit yes for now. I'll show you why. They need to fix this because it's going to spam this now with a bunch of stuff. Oh, no, it did it? Oh, no, it didn't. Okay, that's actually very good. It didn't. They fixed it. Hey, they fixed it. Before it would spam the hell out of that thing. So it was very annoying before. And then it automatically opens the browser tab, and there we go. So that's already good, right? So in this case, you should see Convex functions ready. You'll see a demo of the app pop up. Now I'm going to prepare my code base. So I'm going to don't show this again. It gets annoying. Command B. Let's go ahead and open up Arc. In case you're wondering, my browser I use is called Arc. And then we're going to go into this part, and we're just going to type in localhost 3000. And there we go. This is your starting point, right? Now to test everything's working, like I said, you should have had an environment local file, and you popped in your keys earlier. The keys that we popped in were these two. And then you'll get this Convex deployment that automatically gets added when we set things up using PnPM, okay? Now next public Convex URL and site URL get automatically added as well. So in this case, we can just clean things up a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that this is our Convex keys, and this is our clerk keys, right? Now we got one more step. In that nice Convex starter template that we set up, go to layout.tsx and you'll see that it set things up in a really nice Convex client provider, right? And if we click into that, you can see that's actually a Convex provider with Clerk, which means that it's integrated Convex and Clerk together really nicely, right? And what does that mean? It means that we actually have to set that up a little bit so that those two can play together. And it just simply effectively means that our Clerk and our Convex are effectively in sync. They're integrated now, right? So we have to set up that integration. And how do we do that? It's actually very, very simple. We go to configure. We firstly go to our files as well. Go to Convex folder, go to auth.config, and you will see, look, uncomment this once you've set up your Clerk app. So we're going to go ahead and uncomment this right here. And now you can see Clerk JWT issuer domain, right? So you can go ahead and configure this, and you actually have to add this inside of your Convex environment variables, not inside of your project. So we need to go down here and go to developers. I always kind of forget where this one is. I think it's actually in, you can just type in JWT. So JWT templates, it's in sessions. There you go. Add new template. And then we're going to go to template, Convex. And then you see this one, issuer. We're going to copy that and hit save. Okay. Now there's also another integration setting, and I'm not actually sure which one's the one that we should use, but I know for a fact that it's just safer to turn that on, right? So I've turned it on, manage the integration. You can now see here as well. You can connect Clerk with Convex here, and then look, it's connected, countify, development, status enabled, and we have this URL, right? So this is the URL that we're talking about. So we copied that value, and then I want you to go over to your Convex, and we actually are gonna go to our main Convex. Where is it? It's over here. Let's log into it. Hey, these songs are hitting. These are good. Yeah, and be careful, guys. Axios did get compromised. Yeah, it's very true. So countify. Let's go over here. And now I want you to go to your settings. And then I want you to go to environment variables, add, paste the value in. And for the name, go back over here. Remember Clerk JWT issuer domain? But this is actually the Convex variable. We click save. And you should see that an error that we previously had before will now get, so in this case, it says undefined is not a string. Okay, so we need to fix that. So Clerk JWT issuer domain, and okay, yeah, so type string is not undefined. Okay, so we're gonna say if there's not throw new error, Clerk issuer is not set, right? So that's the first thing. We want to make sure that we actually catch that. So now it looks like it's actually catching TypeScript checks before. That's actually very good. And there we have it. Cool. Convex functions ready. Now, if I didn't set that value, okay, so let's just go ahead and say that I made this maybe 1, 2, 3, and it was wrong. Right, you'll actually get an error at this point. So if we try and start this app up, so I'm going to restart it, you'll actually get an error when we come to use the app. So it won't be immediate, but when you come to sign in with your user, the JWT token will be wrong. So I don't know if it's worth showing you that, to be honest. It doesn't really make much benefit. So let's go back, refresh, and let's just make sure that that's the correct value. So click, yep, okay, that's good. So we're good. Now let's sign in to test things out. Go to the Google login, go to, any login, and let's just make sure we can sign in. Okay. So once we're done with that, because you'll see if we go to page.tsx over here, Command B, Command J, the other way, and you can see now I've logged in and we've got a user button here. So the user button is this one. This is what is responsible for this. And you can see I'm logged in, right? And because I'm authenticated, we can see the content. And because I'm an unauthenticated would have shown a sign-in form. And these are also imports from Convex React, in case you're wondering, okay? So yes, this is the one thing that I really want to go ahead and showcase now is that yes, I have lots of vibe coding capabilities, okay? But I'm trying to clarify. We are not vibe coding the sloppy way. We're doing it the more smarter way. We're doing it the correct way, right? You'll see how bad, and this is a very good point by Chief. He goes, it's not when you realize how much slop code and Codex creates. Yeah, you can create slop if you don't know what you're doing 100%, but if you know how to steer it, perfect. Josh exactly said it in the chat right now. If you know how to steer it, that is the way that you can move forward nice and cleanly, okay? If you're coding manually, I'm sorry, you are going to get left behind, right? So you need to get good at how to use it. So effectively now, we've got our app set up. This is your starting base plate, okay? Now, what we want to do is I want to actually reset my state. So what I want to do is go to Convex. We already set up that one user, right? I'm actually going to log out and I'm going to reset the entire state right now. So I'm going to delete this user as if nothing happened, right? So we're going to start from absolutely scratch, okay? I've been coding for 15 years. Dude, in the nicest way, I've been coding for like, I think it's 19 years now. So I've done it a lot of manual time as well. I hear what you're saying. Totally agree with a lot of slop side of things, but you can use it well, right? So go to configure. Hey, I love this. We've got OG coders, and this is what I'm talking about, guys. This community has some serious coding power inside of it. We've got a person coding 15 years and 17 debating, and I love that. That's a good thing. That means that we've got quality viewers watching this stuff, right? So remember, healthy debates. It's all good, right? We're all here to learn, right? So at this point, what I want you to do is we're going to enable organizations. So this is effectively how we enable people to be able to have, like, for example, the Papa Fam organization. Because the way that we're going to have this is you're going to have different companies that have their organizations. So you can basically log into like Papa Fam, you can log into Sunny Sanga's company, you can log into whatever company you want. And then inside each one, you'll have users. So that's what organizations allows us for. So multi-tenancy. So membership required is yes, you have to be a part of a company to use it. That's how these accounting apps typically will work. We have organizations enabled. And then the next one is we're also going to go to settings for billing, and we're going to enable organization billing and click on save. Okay. Now we've set up the kind of back end of things, right? Now I just want to highlight one thing. This is all being done in a development build, right? Once we have got everything ready, you want to change this from development to production instance, and then you want to follow the steps and start transitioning over to production. There is something that is something which I really want to highlight here, because when you go live, you do not stay on development. You need to switch to production. There is a big no-no in doing that, okay? So quick little water break as well. And I want to mention, it took me a lot to come on live today because I've been fighting a stomach bug, which has been insane. And it's been a wild journey, but your boy does not say no. We carried on pushing and we're here today. Okay, so you can either follow these setup instructions, but that template that we used to set things up already done all of this. So now we're going to plan out our app. So I want you to go over to cursor, and we're going to press Command E. And Command E changes you between the kind of agentic view and the editor view. Now, yes, there is also a glass window, right? So this is the new UI. We're not going to use that because I promise you, if you get used to, like, look, when you get really good at vibe coding, and I don't know if I want to keep calling it vibe coding, but when you get really good at kind of coding with AI, right, the right way, then effectively you can switch to a glass view and kind of get something which is a bit more effective. But for now, if you use that glass view, I promise you're going to get so much slop because you don't know what you're actually doing, right? So I'm trying to show you a way that we can do this correctly. Now, first thing I want to mention is when we set things up, it did ask us when we set up Convex, do you want to install AI agent skills and things like that? So you can see here .agents was added. This added Convex skills. Now skills are effectively these big MD files. Every time we speak to an agent, the name and the description of all of our skills get pulled in. But when we speak to it, depending on the question, it will check the descriptions of the available skills, and then only if the description matches what we're talking about, will it pull in the rest of the MD file for that specific skill. Okay. Hey, I appreciate you, Olandex. Debug the stomach, the community needs you. Hey, love that. All right. Guys, just all I ask is that you guys have been incredible today. Just destroy that like button. Hit the like button right now and subscribe if you already haven't. I flipping love you guys, honestly. Right. This is incredible. Right. So at this point now, that after the skill gets pulled in, only then does it bloat the context window. right? So that's basically the window in which when we're talking to AI, how much the agent is remembering at that one time, right? We don't want to bloat that out, which is why this is pretty good, right? Missing the music playlist in which we used to have before. Jay, that's a very good point. Let's put that back in sort of the email sign up flow. So have like if you want the playlist set up that we had before, because it's an awesome thing actually. People love that, the playlist, and I think people want it back. So let's go ahead and put that back, right? So this pulls in the skills for Convex, okay? The second thing I want you to do is we're gonna set up our plugins. So if you wanna go to Cursor settings, now Cursor has some pretty cool settings now. We have the plugins, right? And we've already installed the Convex one, but I want you to type in Clerk. Clerk has another one. I've already installed it. That will install the MCP server, which is basically all of the live API endpoints, all that stuff. And then you've got the skills, and it installs 7 different skills, one of which is clerk-auth. So we're going to be using that, of course. Okay. And then things like Clerk Custom UI, all this is very, very handy. Now, that's great. The other one that we would want, you can feel free to look for it yourself, but I think those two for now are pretty good. You can have a look for yourself in the marketplace. But those two make our coding a lot more robust. They also added a Claude one, which we're not using, so it doesn't really matter. You could probably get rid of that. But what I want to do before we start is I'm going to try my best to remember this while I'm live today, is we're going to commit now. So at this point, we've got our initial commit, like our starting base app. Okay. So what I want to do is make it very neat for us. I'm just going to do an initial commit. So I'm just going to say initial commit. And I'm going to pop everything in. And yes, there are conventions, feet, bug, and all that stuff, but we're live. I don't want to do too much of that stuff. And I'm just going to let AI do a lot of the talking in this build with this commit messages. But we're going to go ahead and commit. So now we have a clean branch. Okay. And I'm going to show you how I will build on things. Now, Command E, let's go back into the agentic view. All right. I'm going to close all of these off so we've got a clean view. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And now we have our first agent. Right. So in this case, you see, we can just create agents here. So we can just create them. Now, I've got max mode. Ultra, right? You may not have this. It's fine. Just know that if you use a better model, you tend to get better output. It's trash in, trash out, and also the model quality. I like to use Opus 4.6 for the high level thinking, and I do use it on max mode, right? So it's worth mentioning, but again, you can use whatever model you want, right? You can use GPT 5.4. It's very good as well, by the way, and I'm keeping it on high thinking at the moment, okay? So that's the reasoning capability. Now we can explain what we want to build. Now I have built a document here on the side. So I have an AI agent that basically I can talk to you about anything. I have a team of 8 AI agents to basically help me run my entire business. And that agent came up with this to help me out today. So I said, I want to build an accounting B2B app. Can you create me a PDF that basically has a bunch of features? And it came up with this. So auth and multi-tenancy, invoicing capabilities, expense tracking, clients and contacts, dashboard and reports, security and data isolation. And then we've got some gated features like free, pro, and business. And then it done AI receipt scanning. I don't know if we're going to keep the AI receipt scanning, but also, and why this build works for YouTube and the simple tech stack, okay? So we can go ahead and use this as a kind of a base, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and copy most of this in. I'm gonna say maybe up until, let's just copy it in, and then we're gonna chop things off as we see fit, all right? So we don't need the tech stack at the bottom, but we can kind of copy that in for now. And basically that's just, it's a simple prompt really, right? So we're basically just going to use like a prompt. So this is going to kind of be what I like to do is just put dash dash. I'm going to switch to a plan mode. So in this case, plan mode, and you can just do shift and tab, right? Hey, we got Harpreet Singh just joined the Papa Fam special tier. Welcome to the fam, dude. Thank you so much. Curious, what are you using to run multiple agents? Oh, so if you are interested, by the way, in my multiple agent flow, I have a separate OpenClaw. I have a bunch of stuff running. If you're interested in any of that stuff, I actually have a whole community coming. Again, you can feel free to sign up to that in the description down below. There is a link. I believe Jay's made the second link in the description. You can feel free to sign up. I have a whole community about how I have that running. Guys, when I tell you that is an absolute game changer, I have my agents help me code. I have a bunch of stuff. I literally use them for a million different things. And you might be wondering, but Claude does it as well, right? With co-work. No. If you know how you can really level up with this stuff. Join that community. You will not regret it. We're going to be launching very shortly, okay? Now, here, I like to talk to my AI. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I like to use something called Super Whisper. Now, Super Whisper was developed by a friend of mine. You can download it for any of your platforms. And if you are using it, you can feel free, by the way, to use the code Sunny25, right? It doesn't sponsor it. I actually paid full price for it, but it's a really cool app, okay? So I have it on a hotkey, Option spacebar, and basically when I'm talking, oh no, I can't use it here. Oh no, it's kind of cut into my. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, let me try and change my key shortcut. Oh no, I have got it open. Yep, is it? Yeah, okay, I have got it open. Okay, so there we go. Oops. Oh, okay, stop that. Okay. So at this point, go up, and then what I like to do is I'm going to be building a accounting B2B app in the style which is similar to QuickBooks and Xero. Below, I have a rough feature spec sheet. I'm not 100% sure on the AI features yet, so we're going to go ahead and basically leave them as an afterthought. But for the starting point, we need to develop an MVP, and we need to go ahead and implement things like Clerk, role-based access control. You need to run through all of the steps on how we can set it up. And I also have installed plugins and skills for Clerk and Convex that you must use when you're planning this. We are also making sure that this is a B2B organization setup, and we are using Clerk to handle that. For all payment aspects, we will be using Clerk Billing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And you can see it's very fast, right? So I'm going to be building an accounting B2B in style, which is similar to QuickBooks and Xero. A lot of rough feature spec sheet. I'm not 100% sure on the AI feature sets. We're going to go ahead and basically leave them as an afterthought, but and then blah, blah, blah. I don't even check it through all the time, right? And then basically you can kind of go down here. And again, I don't know why it's pulled some of these in. It doesn't really matter. Outstanding. Oh, so it was actually outstanding. Okay, so that's fine. And then I'm also going to say we want to use ShadCN for a lot of the components and graphs to make things a lot more simple. It should be mobile responsive as well. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and basically, I always like to copy my prompts just in case I lose it. Right. And you can see down here, we've got free, pro, and we have the business plan as well, right? Unlimited receipts, AI receipts, scanning, multi-currency support. Yeah, we can see how we want to do it, right? Even the gated features, we can go ahead and say, we're not 100% sure on what features are going to be gated yet. Just factor this in when we're planning. Okay. Now, before we actually kick that plan off, actually, we can start the plan. So we're just going to kick that off in plan mode. So that's going to start figuring out a plan, right? Now, I've been using Paperclip recently, so I was curious. Oh, nice. Awesome stuff. Paperclip and also voice with AI prompting always reminds me of something from IMAT. Yeah, 100%, Josh. I definitely know what you're saying there. I completely feel that one. And thing I like about this is it will spin up sub-agents in Cursor, right? So if you click into the sub-agent is very efficient because if you click it, you'll see it's not running Opus. Opus is an expensive model. Composer 2 is very price effective and it's fast. So when it comes to things like scanning the files, you don't need Opus to be doing that. So it spins off a sub-agent, go ahead and do that. And then it comes back with the information and your Opus carries on building out. So that's a lot more effective than the other way, okay? Now, one thing, I feel on fire right now. I feel really good. This is sick. And we also have just about 100 people watching. Nice. Go ahead and destroy that like button, guys. Okay, so now let's go back, and what I wanted to do is show you one more thing, ShadCN. Right, we're going to install ShadCN for this to help it out. So we're going to say ShadCN. Go to the docs at the top. And if you don't know what ShadCN is, just go to ui.shadcn.com. In fact, I kind of want to show you sometimes. That's fine. All right, so ShadCN, right, and then you can see inside of installation, you've got ShadCN Create. Now, if you do use ShadCN Create, it's actually very cool. So you can use this to kind of customize your theming, right? So I recommend you do try this out, right? Come in here, mess around with it. Luma is the new style, right? And then you can even play around with some of these different styles, the base colors, I guess. Yeah, so you see the base color behind it, right? So let's go ahead and, you know what, screw it. Let's create this right now. I'm going to do this. Let's do it mauve, all right? And then let's do blue. So we can do our different color schemes. So because we're dealing with money here, I'm going to stick with the emerald style, right? And in fact, if you ever do want design inspiration, one thing that I do want to mention, and we're not affiliated with QuickBooks, right? So I just want to say that right now. QuickBooks, don't come at us. This is purely educational. We're not trying to be you. We're not trying to claim that we have anything with you, right? So any issue, just reach out. But this is educational. I love QuickBooks. They're an awesome company, right? Go to Dribble. So DRIBBBLE. It's like a designer website. It's awesome, right? And if you type in, for example, accounting software, it will come up with design concepts that real designers have basically come up with. And this is amazing for getting design inspiration, right? So in this case, we've got some beautiful designs here. See, look at this, really, really nice stuff. And you can use this for inspiration. So very, very good place to kind of get landing pages, a few things like that from. So going back over here, we can carry on and start designing it. So Emerald, I really like this already. We can see the heading, different styles. So we can kind of, let's have, this is kind of cool. Oh, that's kind of cool. What that was, where was that? That was Robot, was it Robot? I think I just, what was that? Oxanium. No, that's a bit futuristic actually. You guys tell me if you like one. Roboto is kind of, oh no, this is kind of cool. Roboto, yeah. I mean, that's kind of, yeah, that's actually very nice. Right? Very sleek with the money. Then we got the font. So again, you could switch that to Roboto as well. And then the icon library. So you can see the different icons that we have over there. Huge icons. We've got a couple. I do like huge icons. It's kind of cool. And then the radius as well. Like you can go ahead and modify it. These are the radiuses of this kind of circle, the corners. And that's actually quite nice, to be fair. Large instead of, we can make our app extra rounded off to be a bit more friendly. Yeah. And then that menu inverted. So if we see the menu, I don't know if there is a menu. Look, we can see, but this is already looking pretty good. And then the menu accent preset. Okay, so there we have it, the preset, right? Copied. And then if we click on create project, you see that template, Next.js, Radix or base, create a mono repo. No, we're good. And then you can see that init. So if we're going to add it to an existing PNPM DLX and it gives us a preset. Right, so I'm going to copy this command, head back over, and I'm going to basically go into Command J or Command E first to go back into my coding view. Command I to hide that, Command B to hide that. Open up a new terminal. I'm going to paste in. Now I'm going to install ShadCN ourselves, right? So I'm installing ShadCN and let that happen for a sec. And it's going to install it with all of those configurations that we just did, right? Now, while that's happening, Command E, Command J. So basically hide that. So, and also you can hide this sidebar while if you don't need multiple agents at the moment. Now it created a plan for us. And the way you see your plan is you go here, you click on this and it will open the plan on the sidebar. Now we can scroll down, you can see that ShadCN is not installed. So I need to ask it to change a few things actually and say, I just installed ShadCN and I actually set it up with already the colors and scheming and everything as well. So I need you to go ahead and respect the template that I've already set up with ShadCN. ShadCN, right? Even here, ShadCN, right? Colors and scheming. So in that case, now this will go ahead and update the plan. So planning experience and those content, I need to check what they can set up in the plan. So let me check what you've already set up with ShadCN. And we can see here that the project initialization has been complete. Nice. Okay. Now, once that's done, we can go back to the docs. And afterwards, we've already set this up. Oh, great, right? I want to show you also, we have this skills. So this is really worth it adding to our base, right? So PM DLX skills, add ShadCN UI. So Command J, we're going to go ahead and paste that in as well. So paste it in. And this will bring up the skills installer. Now you might be familiar with this or seen this elsewhere, but basically get used to it because we're going to see this a couple of times when we use the skills installer. But we're installing the ShadCN skills, and be careful guys when you're installing skills, okay? Because skills really can be, malicious. So in this case, we trust ShadCN, right? So install for the project for this one, proceed with installation. And you can see that they have these different risk assessments. Sync says medium risk, but I trust ShadCN, right? And also you can scan them. There's a bunch of stuff you can do, right? So in this case, I'm only telling you to install the ones that I trust. Now, after we're done with this, I'm just going to go ahead and do a base commit. I'm going to say, like, for example, we initialize initialize ShadCN. So initialize or add ShadCN, skills and set up config, right? And then we're going to commit. Okay, so now again, we have a clean branch, right? Now we go back to our code, Command E, back to the agentic view. And then we can close this out. And again, we're back in our planning stance, right? So now we can see that the plan's been updated. Let's have a look. So current state, the plan has a working Next.js, React, Convex Clerk starter kit, key files already in place. And then ShadCN already installed, replace existing config. Okay, amazing. That's our config that we set up. All UI work must use these tokens. Phase 1, foundation and tooling. Install remaining ShadCN components. Going to install a bunch of components, right? This gives us the full component set, card for content, table for data grid, sheet. And if you don't know how ShadCN works, if you go to components, you've got these awesome components, and we can basically go ahead and see, for example, a sheet would add in, for example, this would add in this beautiful little sheet, right? And it kind of handles all the accessibility around it. Another thing that's really cool is if you see blocks and charts, right? So the charts are stunning here. In fact, if I go ahead and copy this link, I'm even going to say, I really love ShadCN charts. So please use these where possible as well. And basically pop these in as well, ShadCN charts. So please use them as where possible as well. All right. So in this case, you can see, and we don't even need to say please. It's just a habit, right? I talk to my agents like they're humans too much. That's because of my AI agent team. Honestly, I got so used to doing that. All right. So at this point, we've got our charts and everything here looking pretty cool. Heading back over, our viewer count is climbing. This is awesome. Smash that like button. I appreciate you guys. All right. And then it needs us to set up the Nextjs middleware, rename proxy to middleware.ts. That's wrong. Okay. So this is wrong. So proxy.ts is wrong. Renaming proxy.ts to middleware is wrong. This is again AI slop, right? So here we need to say, make sure you use the clerk skills. For example, clerk setup skill. When you're doing this, you have the clerk plugin, use it. So we need to make sure our plan is correct. And this will reduce the slop so much. You don't understand. All right. So at this point, we added in the ShadCN charts as well. So in this case, now this will be updated in a second. It's doing that right now. And then the app routing structure, auth, marketing, dashboard. Okay. And then we have clerk organizations and RBAC, configure custom rows in the clerk dashboard. We have owner, maps to org admin, and then we have org accountant, and we have org member as well. All right. So an admin has full access, an accountant has CRUD permissions on invoices, expenses, and clients, and a viewer can only read. Okay. So we have 3 different rows inside a clerk. This is, see that? Now it's going to read the B2B SaaS skill. So we're going to allow that to the MCP tool list. So that way it doesn't have to keep on approving it every time. And then go down here and then we can see configure custom permissions. So we've got a bunch of custom permissions we're going to have to set up. Okay. We'll do this in a moment and then build auth guard helpers. So here you can see require auth and then require org access. So this is not very necessary. Use has permission. That's correct. So you want to look for the has. This is actually part of Clerk Billing. So I'm going to show you guys ourselves. So if you see Clerk Billing, I highly recommend you check out the documentation. Again, whenever you're vibe coding anything or building, always check the docs, guys. It's not a maybe, it's not an if. Always check the docs. All right. So copy, you see B2B billing, yeah? You can either copy as markdown and give it to your agent, or the skills already have this, right? But if we scroll down, you can see that we simply got to add 1 line of code to get the pricing table working, and that's all the whole checkout flow. And then if we want to gate the user, we just use the has function on the server side or on the client side, or we can use the show component. So there's a really nice show component that they have, this one. Show when permission is right? And you can do basically permission, feature, or plan. Okay, now we can also pass this in as context to make sure everything is correct as well. But if we go up now to when we done our last change, you're right, I should have said rename proxy to middleware. Proxy is the middleware file. Now you can see it's fixed it a bit more. There we go. Response redirect, use select org. Okay, very nice. All right, let me update the plan to use the correct approach. Awesome stuff. And I'm also going to say, check that the billing is correct according to the documentation and skills. So you see, I actually am quite on top of it with this stuff. I really make sure that it's using the documentation as part of the plan, because when you build, trust me, the build part is really fast. The build's going to happen quick, right? The planning is where the quality comes in, right? So you can see show when feature reports or show when permission. This is much better. And then we have the fallback that shows convex backend. We have validate identity server side. We also need to make sure that one organization absolutely cannot see another organization's data, right? So this is so essential. For security purposes, we must ensure that one organization cannot see or access or manipulate or change the data of another organization's data inside of Convex. This is a first-class security that you need to implement, okay? So we're going to go ahead and add that in as well. It's part of the plan. Then we keep on checking the plan. So in this case, you can see Convex schema design. This is where it goes ahead and builds the schema. So we've got clients, we've got invoices, we've got invoice items, we've got expenses, audit logs, org items, right? Org settings, sorry. organization scoped query pattern. So for every convex function follows this pattern for tenant isolation. That is actually what the plan is, tenant isolation. So we get the user identity, right? Then we check, are they authenticated? Then this function basically checks, org ID comes from the client, valid against the JWT, right? So we're basically checking if they are organization scope. But this one I need to check. But to be fair, this question will check against that, right? Clerk, we are using Clerk Billing, not manual Stripe integration. Yes, Clerk Billing works. Configure plans, right? So it will tell us how to do that as well. Pricing page as well for organization. Yes. Feature getting in the app is correct, and it also uses the show component. Perfect. Okay. So that's great. The dashboard as well. Revenue overview, invoicing, perfect. Expense tracking as well. Clients and contacts. Reports as well. Okay, reports, and then webhook and data sync. This is the one I was actually going to complain now and say it didn't do webhooks, but we came to it. Okay, handle organization events to sync with Convex. Organization created, organization membership created, organization deleted. Right, use verify webhook. That's very important. And then members as well. Typically, okay, somebody says, is Convex scalable for an app with 5,000 users? Dude, Convex is scalable for an app with 1 million users. It's absolutely incredible. Perfect video to see more in depth on these platforms. Since I'm integrating Quickbooks into my B2B app, I wanted to see more in depth about this. Oh, well, welcome, dude. Absolutely awesome stuff. We're actually rebuilding, right? So effectively your own accounting software. So Michael, remember to fill my organization ID with no security. It's a bug waiting to happen. Yes, exactly. We should not be filtering. It should be checking truly the way to do it, right? See, look. See, it's not real security. A malicious user could modify the client to pass any org ID. So you need to make that very, very secure. Okay. So in this case, and we can actually have it. So we modify the JWT token so it passes back the organization ID. So that's something that we're going to have to actually do. Right, org settings as well when using tabs. Okay, so that's fine. And then key architecture, see how it gives us this. Data isolation, every table has organization ID. Every query uses with index. Now that, again, is not super secure. It's going to come up with, this is the problem. The current plan accepts org ID as a client-side argument. No. You want to be checking server-side for this stuff. Okay, a malicious user could change that and basically screw up the JWT, right? Or screw up the backend access. Derive organization ID from the server-signed JWT, yes, which Clerk includes when org is active. Okay, enforce it through Convex Helpers, custom function reps, and never accept org. Yep. So we need to make sure that's absolutely essential. And then we have, you see, 8 phases. And always try to build your app in phased approaches. So phases, okay? So it's really going to make a big difference when you're building this way, okay? Now you can see, look, we have a pretty juicy plan, okay? So in this point, you can see that even our context window, 174,000 tokens at the moment. And like I showed you, I am on a billing plan. So which if we go to cursor, go to plan and usage, you can see that total 24% on demand usage. And you can see I'm on 69% of my plan, which gets renewed in 2 days. Okay. So I'll run through this and then like I don't mind going over whatever the case, but you can see if we use Composer and Auto, I barely scraped it because right now I'm using Opus a lot. Right, but you'll see today 69% is what we're on, and then we're going to pretty much fly through this, right? So here we go. So now let's go and give this a moment. Hey, look at the views, absolutely awesome stuff, guys. All I ask that you do is it will help so much. Use the first link in the description to sign up to Clerk when you sign up. It, again, makes a huge difference. You have no idea. And also subscribe. So many of you are watching right now that aren't subscribed. Please just subscribe and like the video. It's huge for us. You have no idea. Right, so the security model organization comes from organized JWT, amazing stuff, right? Defense in depth on mutations, Clerk JWT, yeah, okay, awesome stuff. So we have to configure this, right? That's amazing. In the Convex JWT template, ensures claims section ensures, okay, perfect. So now, before we execute, what I want to do is you want to save the plan. So you want to go here, 3 dots, save to workspace. And now if we go to our files, we can simply see that when I'm in the agentic view, you can see how it comes up here. If we go to cursor, plans, we now have it saved. So in case we ever start a new chat, we can simply just reference. So if I have a new chat now, I can just do @plans, and you can see how my plan pops up. And now that's the reference to the whole plan, okay? So at this point, you can see I already am at 176,000 tokens deep, okay? So what I want to do here is I don't want to start the plan on this thread, right, or this agent thread, right? So I'm actually going to click a new agent now, and I'm going to go ahead and say, let's begin this plan. And I'm going to say plan, boom. And now I'm going to have a fresh context window. So it'll start from a lower context window size because we've already got all the details in the plan. Okay. And then we're already on Opus 4.6. We don't need to be in plan mode because it's going to go ahead and we've already got access to the plan. We can go ahead and execute now. Now you can do things like different trees and stuff like this. So in this case, well, I'm not going to show you that today. I'm going to keep that for a separate video. Right? Someone says, why do you use Cursor and not Claude Code? I use Cursor because it's more visible. I can see what is going on. Have I used Claude Code? Yes. But I use it for more like kind of like smaller things like, you know, internal tools and that kind of stuff. When I need to know exactly what is going on and I need quality, I'm using this to make sure I can go ahead and check things through. In Claude Code, you can't read the plan as simple as this. It's not as clean as this, guys. I don't care what anyone says. It's not the same. Okay. So we're going to close the plan now and you can see that it sets up the phases. I can archive the old chat and now we're clean, right? So you see that we've got to-dos 14 and our build is beginning. Okay, so it's going to install Convex Helpers. What is the Convex Helpers? I wonder. Let's actually see this. What is Convex Helpers, right? So before I install that, what is Convex Helpers? Because I don't actually know what those are. Convex-Helpers. I'm not aware of those. Convex, a collection of useful code to complement the official packages, and we have 47 contributors, 447. Is this from Convex themselves? Get Convex. So I believe it is from Convex. Okay, so it's actually from Convex. So these are actually from them. Useful code to complement the official packages. Oh, nice. That's actually very good. Oh, okay. Row level security. Oh, nice. Very, very good. I did not actually know this was a thing. If you guys knew that, let me know because that is very cool actually. The key feature for ours is custom functions. Awesome stuff. Can we use this actually? I'm going to go into plan mode for a second. Say, can we use Convex Helpers to help maybe isolate multi-tenancy? So row level security, for example, you see this? Look, we have row level security. So row level security. And in this case, you can start a conversation. That's very good. I did not actually know that. So in this case, look, we can see rate limiting as well. Rate limiting I've done before, but look, row level security to help a database define wrappers to add row level checks for a server-side function. That's very cool, right? And we have row levels RLS config as well. Very nice. So this could help us a ton. So let's have a look. Yes, and this is already the core security approach in the plan. Convex doesn't have traditional, but Convex Helpers provide custom functions, which is Convex recommended 10, arguably stronger. So we have org, custom rotation, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so but I'm going to say that they actually do have an example code bit here. So I'm going to copy that code and say, use the example here for help. And now we're still in plan mode. So I'm going to try and maybe iterate on the plan a little bit. And you can see how long I spend in plan mode. It will help you a ton because you'll see how quickly the build will progress once we're good. Right? Defining the RLS security, the check based on conditions. And now it's doing a deep thinking. Yeah. So, because remember, okay, so here's one thing I want you to understand. Do not, I don't care how long you use AI, do not trust AI. Okay. I will stress this point a million times over. Do not trust AI. AI hallucinates everything. If you know how AI truly works, effectively, it's like at the highest level abstraction, I'm saying, right? It's like patterns between words, and that's effectively like a really extreme high level abstraction. So it's just very good at piecing words together the right way that makes us believe that it's true. And it can do that so well that it makes us believe that whatever it says is factual. And that is very, very bad. Right? And there's different types of hallucinations. There's extrinsic, which basically means extrinsic is basically what it's been trained on. And then there's data that we've given it, and that is basically intrinsic hallucinations. So if I said my dog is called Kenji, and then next thing you know, it says, okay, your dog is called Kenjo, it had an intrinsic hallucination based on something I told it, and then it hallucinated on that value. Whereas it can make it up in two different ways, but you really don't want to trust the output. You always want to go through things over and over, right? To make sure it 100% knows the drill, okay? So this is strictly more secure than the wrapper zone. Should I update the plan to incorporate this RLS approach? Okay, so it now took that approach instead. So in this case, with RLS added, we wrap context database, automatically runs through org scoping, even if a function forgets to fill the RLS blocks cross org access. Amazing, yes. Amazing. Yes. Update the plan and to-dos. To-do tasks and continue. Okay. Now it says Tonka says, yeah, scary to let it decide things unless you're really clueless about what you're doing, then you can't gamble. Yeah. And this is the thing, right? So a lot of, people nowadays are wondering, oh, coding is dead and this and that. It's really not about coding being dead, guys. You can see right here, a normal person who just knows how to go to, for example, any vibe coding platform or knows how to use Claude Code, would they be doing every single step that I did today and know what to check for? You see, there is a big difference between effective quality and moving fast versus slop and don't know what you're doing. And that comes from the tech stack, the architecture, the decisions, the way you secure an app. All of these things are what you should now be focusing your learning arc on to, instead of just, line by line coding anymore, right? So if you get really good at this, I promise you it's going to be absolutely a game changer. Quick water break, because I keep forgetting to drink water. Now, we've got the phase 2 of C itself, the big content. Okay, so it's updating the plan. This is great. We're doing really good on speed as well. I'm so honestly shocked. I actually can't believe I didn't know about Convex Helpers. These are really good. Stateful migrations, action retry, rate limiting sessions, client, a richer use query. Okay, whatever that is. What is richer use query? I use placement from with a richer return value. So okay, so in this case, okay, kind of cool. We have cores for HTTP, triggers, we have query caching, stream and combine data from multiple queries. Wow. In Convex queries, async, very nice. Cool thing about is you can make query streams from them with operations. Wow, okay. So really, really cool. Convex components is quite cool. Let's see what that is as well. We're all doing this while we're waiting for the plans. Really want me to switch from agent mode? Yes, okay. So now we switch from agent mode and we say yes. Awesome, right? And you can obviously, I would check through it a bit more if I was you. But in this case, let's go back to Convex Helpers. Let's go back to get Convex and let's see what our friend mentioned here. So we've got Convex backend, which I believe we've already set up. Convex templates, which we already did. Convex components. Oh, we used that before. I know what you're talking about actually. So Convex components, these are awesome. These are basically very, very good. So if you're using Mux, for example, they have a really nice connection with that. If you're using static hosting, and for example, Convex Sagehand as well, extract data, perform actions, RAG, AI agent, a few things like this, right? Very, very cool. But again, you want to be very intentional. A few things that I really liked here, one of which was rate limiting. Rate limit. This is awesome, guys. If you want a rate limit, they made it so easy, right? This is really, really good. This one, I've used this a ton. I've used that in production as well, and it's very effective. We have a few here as well. So let's have a look. Okay. We need to approve this. Allow MPX ShadCN. I'm happy with that. Convex debouncer as well. Very debounce expensive operations like LLM calls, metric computation. Very, very cool. And even like Nano Banana. Very, very cool. Convex comments, full feature comment. Nice. Threads mentions. Wow, this is cool. I did not know they had collaboration section. This is the thing I love right now with AI in the space. The community is also building things really, really fun. Look, real-time unread message counter. Very nice. That's very cool as well. All right, so presence. That's cool. A live updating list of users in a room. That's really cool. Collaborative text editing. This is awesome. I've used this one actually. This is good if you're using things like a rich text editor. In fact, I actually use this on my agents. So right now, actually, I have a mission control where I can control my agents. I don't know if I should show you that. I'm just going to see if I can quickly show you that. No, I've turned it, I've disabled it. I'm not going to show you that yet until I'm 100% certain I can show you that. But you can go ahead and actually check it out yourself. So what was I doing before? We were, yeah. So basically that mission control is awesome. If you do want to know about my mission control and how I have my agents set up, again, sign up to that form in the description. Second link in the description, go sign up. I'll teach you everything about my 8 AI agent team, how I use them, and I control all of them in this mission control over here. That's super secure and hard. No one can get into that besides me. Okay. Me or Jay. So once we have that now, and I have this, I actually use this inside of that, which is pretty cool. Okay, so now it's building. Now what I recommend you do is something that I forgot to mention is it's now going to jump through the different phases, right? So starting phase 1A, right? So ideally it will stop at phase 1. So I'm going to show you why I would say so. Proceed until end of phase 1 only, and then pause for review. Okay, and what I like to do is basically just pop that in, and then we're going to click on send now. Okay, because the reason being is like I want to go ahead and do it in a controlled fashion. So one, we can go ahead and commit as well. So in this case, you can see like a ton of changes are happening already, right? So we don't want to kind of fly too far forward at one time, and then if we ever screw things up, yeah, it's kind of hard to undo what we kind of got to, right? So now let's go ahead and see. So go in there. It says the user wants me to complete it only in the stop. Let me check what's been done. So we done 1A, 1B, 1C. Need to move create webhook around. Let's check what's left. Right. Okay. So again, I should have said that in the beginning. It kind of annoyingly disrupted it. But let's go ahead and get the app. Let's see what we're doing so far. So right now, and also when you're developing in Arc, what I like to do is click here and click on, oh, not my boost. Sorry, developer mode on. Okay. And then I refresh. And to be honest with you, sometimes I feel like I have to go ahead and do it again. Yeah, there you go. So you want to do that to the point where you get the 3000 up the top, and then you can also get your inspect panel as well. Cool. Ah, look at this, Countify. Nice, right? Sign up for free, view pricing. Cool. We're starting to get the UI going. Ismail goes, hey Sunny, how are you? I'm doing awesome, dude. How are you? What's up? The chat is popping today. You guys have been awesome today, honestly. Absolutely incredible. Okay, so now what I want to do is let's go ahead and see this is the old start file, or this now, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so it's getting rid of the old startup files now as well. And we can go ahead and actually inspect some of the changes that it started to do, right? So if we see inside of app folder, we can see that we've got auth, marketing. These are grouped folders, so they don't disrupt the URL. So this doesn't make it /marketing. It's invisible with the parentheses inside of Nextjs routing, right? But where is our homepage? Our homepage appears to be actually, it's in the marketing page. So this is actually our homepage here, right? So because it's invisible, and then it's the first top level page. So at this point, we've got, if there is a user ID, redirect to dashboard. Now you could do these kind of checks here, right? In my opinion, it's a server render, so it's fine to do it here, but you could more effectively do this in the proxy.ts, right? So you can say like, if they're going here, then maybe catch them beforehand and redirect them. But it's also not the end of the world if it's a server render to be doing it here. They will catch it before they see it. It's still a good approach, right? We have the link. This is all the header stuff. And again, you could be extracting this into separate components, but overall, not a terrible approach here actually, right? And then if we see this, okay. And then let's see, we have the pricing page, and you can see they are using the pricing table. Great start. Command D, let's go back and let's have a look where it's at. Okay, so let's open up the plan side by side so we can see what's happening with it as well. So it's finished plan phase A. So ShadCN components installed, 25 components. Clerk B2B middleware has been set up. It protected all of the dashboard routes, and we can tell by going to the proxy.ts. Command P is how I do that, by the way. Right? Tonkes says, I quite also prefer proxy checks for this. 100%, dude. 100%. I agree with you. Proxy is much cleaner than doing it in every single file. So in this case, if protected route, we could move that. So like protected route, if anything in the dashboard, you should be checking if it's a protected route, await auto protect. That basically means you need to be logged in. Okay. And then is admin route. And we should also be checking that they are allowed access to that specific dashboard, right? So we can check that afterwards. We're going to do a couple of checks like that afterwards. Go to here. Now we can see current state. So plan A was, phase A was this. So, and so remaining ShadCN components, app routing structure. And then phase 2 was clerk organizations and RBAC. Okay, so at this point, before we proceed to phase 2, I want to basically, let's assume we checked it all. We're happy with it. Let's go to our organization. Our Git changes. And then I would basically go ahead and pop it in and do generate. Okay. Now, hopefully it does a nice commit message, but if it doesn't, I'll show you what we can do instead. So let's see. In fact, you know, sometimes with this, so like here, it says that feet update middleware. So that doesn't typically do a nice commit message, right? What I recommend as a little trick is if you want a really nice commit message here, what we can do is we can actually go ahead, and you also want to keep an eye on your token use. 139K is what we're at the moment. I'm going to say before we proceed to phase 2, generate a really insightful phase 1 commit message. Show me before we do it. I'm going to approve it before we do it. All right, so we get AI to generate the commit message for us. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do it that way as well. And this is the way that I'd recommend, right? So you should be committing, and then that way you've got nice checkpoints inside your coding flow. Okay, so in this case, now it's checking through what's staged and what's not, checking for the untracked files and so forth. Everything is already staged. So look, feet, scaffold, countify, BTP, app foundation. So now you can see, well, I kind of done it, feet, but I'm also going to say, well, I mean, in this case, it's not including the plan or phase, right? But it's still doing, that's actually more useful than saying phase 1, because then you got to go find out what phase 1 is. But you can see that's effectively what it did. Want me to go ahead and commit this message? Yes. So now it's going to do a commit on our behalf with that. Right, so I'm allowing it in this case. Probably going to ask me for permission as well, maybe, unless I've allowed it to do it. I think I did allow it. Yeah. So commit successful. Now, if we go back to Command D and we go here, we have a clean commit. Now, continual learning is something else. That's my own little kind of thing I have running in the background, so ignore that. But if we see now the graph, look, we've got a nice way that we can roll back now. So this is the way you want to develop, right? You got nice little checkpoints. If we screw up now in the next phase, we can roll back, right? So what we can now do is we can go Command D. We can go ahead and hide this. We can either spin up a new agent and say proceed with phase 2, right? So that way we don't go bloat the context window, but I'm not too worried about that. So in this case, we say continue with phase 2. Okay, let's go. So now it will continue on, right? And you see, this is the approach that we typically do. You do it in chunks. You do it in committable chunks. And this is the clean way to go ahead and work. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but Sunny, I'm just going to use Cloud Code and that handles everything, right? Well, no, it does not handle everything. And I guarantee you'll get your app maybe to a decent place and then you'll screw it all up. So you really want to make sure you're doing like your coding in this sort of aspect. And this is why I do it live, right? Right. Amazing stuff, guys. The retention and likes are awesome. Keep on smashing that like button. Let's keep on going, right? Now, this point is where we need to set up our RBAC, right? So in this case, this is our role-based access control. So we're going to come back and forth between looking at this and setting things up. In fact, what I can do here is I'm going to go ahead and put the chat a little bit to the side. And we're going to open up our clerk, and we're going to go to our configure panel in Countify and Clerk. And then inside of here, we're going to go down to organizations, settings. Now here you can change your organization settings. For example, how many members can be inside of an organization. For now, we'll leave it on 5 members, but you can do unlimited and so forth. And remember, add-ons are free to test until you go to production. Let's leave it on unlimited actually, because we're going to allow different tiers to have different levels. And then this is fine for now. And the main thing is roles and permissions. So by default, we have 2 roles, admin and member. Okay. So in this case, we need to create 3 rows in the Clerk dashboard under roles and permissions, owner, accountant, and viewer. Right now, the question here is we already have an admin and member. So what I would recommend you do, if you ever get confused here, take a screenshot of this, right? Open up a second agent while this one's working and simply pop it in and just say in phase 2 of plan, and pop it in, just say, explain how I should create the rows. This is what we already have, right? This is what we already have in the dashboard. So literally use it to teach yourself and get to the point that you need to, okay? So it's gonna help you a ton. Right, One Piece says, how you doing, Jay? A great, Jay. Let's get it today. Give me the warm salutes to Sunny. Hey, appreciate you, dude. What's up? Papa Fam is absolutely on fire today. Right, so let me read the plan and Clerk organization skills to give you the right guidance. Amazing. It's using the right things that we expected. Right, now I have the based on your screenshot. It shows, okay, so now we need to go to all rows tab and we can go ahead and either create different rows. So, but first, next to rows, but first you need to create the permissions, look for the permission section. So sometimes it gets a little confusing with where you put this stuff, but in this case, we need to create an accountant custom row. So this continual learning thing is kind of annoying, but ignore it for now. Okay, so let's go over here. create the accountant custom row. So you already have admin and member. You need to add one custom row. And the all rows create rows. So, and we also need to create these permissions. Now we can add these inside of, now our admin actually has everything. Okay, so what we can actually do is if we go into our admin, we can see that we have system permissions. Now you can see that these are system permissions, high level, org, sys profile, manage. We can create custom permissions. Now, the easiest way to think of this is our admin gets all of the access. So let's create the permissions with our admin first, and then we enable the permissions accordingly. So while our app is building on the other agent, we're going to create that. Okay, so the first one that we're going to do is we're going to say invoices. Okay, and this is actually going to become the key. So it's going to be org invoices, right? And then you can give it a description if you want, but in this case, we'll keep it very simple. It's just going to be invoices. Now it's going to be org : invoices, and the permission is going to be, for example, create, right? And it's so pretty self-explanatory. Org invoices create. You can add a description, but it's kind of self-explanatory. And if we click it, look, org invoices create. We can see that, right? So that's effectively how we create our custom permissions now. So I'm going to do a couple more here. We're going to go ahead and firstly save that change, and then we create another permission inside of invoices. We're going to say manage, right? So manage. And this is honestly role-based access control at its finest. It's super nice, right? Click save. Now we've got our two, org invoices manage, and we've got the other one, right? And then we're going to create a new feature now because we need the second one, expenses. So expenses is the next one, right? And we can do capital E here. The key remains lower, expenses. And then we've got create and manage. So we're going to go ahead and create those. Create. And then we've got manage as well. So I'm going to do another one. This is going to be manage. Now, good luck getting your AI to do this part. You see what I mean? Like you need to know what you're doing, right? Org expenses create and org expenses manage. Then we've got org clients create and manage. So we need to add one more, clients, right? And then click on add. And then this is going to be create and manage as well. So clients, create and manage. So let's do that one as well. And manage. Boom, create permissions. And then we have reports, which is another one. So let's go save. And then we have reports. And this is going to be read. Where is that one? Reports. Yep. And this one's going to be read. Create permission. And then settings, manage. Okay. And then we've got settings. And then we've got manage. Okay, so now what I want you to do is check against your roles and permissions. Remember, AI is non-deterministic. So basically what mine is saying, yours might be slightly different. You just need to make sure that you have the same things. And what you can actually do here, simply screenshot it and pass that in. And you can be like, have I done it correctly? At this point, I've done it correctly. I can see that. Okay, next up, these are all assigned to our admin. So our admin has access to everything. Great, right? Now we go back and we need to add another row. Okay, so the row here, premium feature, that's fine, right? For now, we're going to keep it remember, on development mode, we can test everything. It's absolutely fine. Okay, now the accountant row. So accountant. You already have admin. We're going to have one more accountant, and this is going to be org accountant. Okay, now assign these permissions to it. And you see, this is like, you can give it a description and so forth, including the initial row set. Yes. Now the custom permissions, which ones do we give it, right? So org gets invoices, create and manage. So an accountant can create and manage invoices. It can do expenses, create and manage. It can do clients, create and manage. And it can also read the reports, but it can't tinker the settings. That's an admin job. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit save. And now let's do step 3. Update existing rows permission. Admin, assign all permissions. Yes. Remember, this is your viewer. Give it 0 custom permissions, or you can just give it org reports read if you want viewers to see the reports, right? So let's go to our final row. So in this case, let org accountant. Then we've got org member. See, and you can explain the description if you want. But org member, we're going to give the org member the ability to read a report. Yeah. So a member inside an organization can read a report. And remember, Clerk allows us to have the whole invite flow. So we can invite members to our organization with different roles, and this will be handled for us. Now, that's that set. We've got 7, 16, and 3. Now, the final thing is inside of the accountant, you can see system permissions, right? Now, accountants should not be able to manage the organization, read billing, manage billing, read domains, or read and manage members. No, they should just have access to these permissions over here. So you see how we've set this up on the back end, right? So this is where Clerk comes in another league in terms of its power. Now, what we want to do is go down how it's used in the code. So this is how it's effectively going to be gated and the organizations are going to be checked against and so forth. Now, once that's done, let's just let that run in the background. This is basically a way that my agents get smarter. You can feel free to install that one yourself. It's a custom plugin. Okay. Now, once that's done, we go to row sets and you see the default row set that we give by default is admin, member, and accountant. So you can basically be one of these 3. Okay. That's absolutely fine. Cool. So now we're done with that. Awesome. Let's go back to Countify, our main agent that was running, and we can see our phase 1 and phase 2 is now done. So we created the rows. It says manual steps required. So we can see what it did. Look, convex functions. If we go over here, we can see our plan, and you can see you can actually click build plan, but we're doing it individually in a more controlled way. So we go up here, we can see our plan. Phase 2 was use reference. Okay, so this is actually the RLS and everything like that. So phase 2 and 3 complete. Okay, well, I mean, it did this phase 2 and 3 for us. Next time I'll say don't do that, but okay, it's fine. 2-layer data organization, isolation, RLS rules enforce that the document is only, so document org ID matches the org ID. That's very good, right? Blocking any table without explicit rules, great. So clients are now protected. So, okay, we've now got tables being protected. This is awesome, okay? Now the next step is manual. So create the rows, org admin, org accountant, and org member, yes. Create permissions, done, right? Ready for your review. So at this point now you would do a review, okay? So at this point, Command D, come back here. Again, continue learning is my own thing. Command I to close that out. And you can basically jump through and give it a review. You can do this also another way. In Command E, if you're back here, click on review. And what you can do is you can basically go, and if you were to hide this out, now you can see that I've got 8 pending changes. So by clicking on review, I can just see the files here. And at this point, I can actually add to chat. I can basically suggest different changes and so forth. And this is basically for the RLS rules. So row level security configuration, okay? So in this case, you can do your review. And once you're happy with this one, for example, you can stage it or keep it, right? So we can go through, you can even go ahead and do like, agent changes. And this will basically do like its own code review on your code, right? So we can go ahead and do that. And then imagine I go through and check it all. I'm gonna trust that we kind of get through a lot, even though I said don't trust, but I've done this a million times. So I'm gonna go ahead and just assume, and then we're gonna debug it if anything's wrong. Okay, so in this case, we're just going to say we're going to keep everything. Okay, so we're going to keep it all. And then before we carry on, if we do Command D, you can see look, I've got a bunch of uncommitted changes. So I'm going to say here, yes, I've already done the manual steps. That's great. I want you to now go ahead and generate a commit message, stage all the changes and commit. All right. So, and again, typically you do that in steps. You check what it's doing, make sure you approve of that and before it does it, but we're going to carry on here. Okay. Now, again, quick little check on our context, 167K. So we're still good. I don't really like crossing over 200K. I feel like it starts getting a bit bloaty. And cursor used to double charge after, okay? And if we look inside of our cursor settings right now, we can see in terms of the usage, I have now gone through, and I tend to be pretty good with my use lately. Look, I haven't really used much at all since I've been doing this. So you see, a plan is essential. A plan is so good. I see people like, oh, I just done a hello and it used 2% because I'm telling you, you've got a million plugins installed or something. You've done something stupid, right? So most of the time when people complain about this, they don't know what they're doing. That's the truth. Claude made 1 million. Oh, Good point, Tonkez. Thank you. Yeah. So they stopped double charging because Claude made 1 million default now. Yeah, that's good. You know what? I'm very happy you actually said that because I think it might make a few things easier for me now. Phase 2 until you're locked in. Now do Command D. You can see it's these are different changes. This is for MD. So I'm just going to commit these ones ourselves. But if we click on the actual graph, you can see that that's actually popped in. It's added in the different security. And look at that commit message. It's awesome, right? This one, enhance agents, that's fine. Right, we're going to push that through. Okay, Command D now. and we're going to say proceed with phase 4. And before we continue on, let's get aligned, guys. Let's make sure we know what phase 4 is before we carry on. So we're going to go ahead and close this to see phase 4 is so phase 3 was convex schema design. So now in convex as well, we should have our convex. In fact, if we go over here and do Command J and we see our app, yep, convex functions are ready. So we should actually have a bunch of files. Let's see. So we got tables, audit logs, clients, expenses, invoice items, and numbers is the O table that we can actually remove with the asterisk next to it. So that's how we can say it with removing it. So there we have it. Cool. Now let's go ahead and do, okay, so continue. So continue with phase 4. Let's go. Okay. Now phase 4 is enable Clerk Billing. And this is where we're going to configure the plans in Clerk Billing and so forth. So we can actually just look through this as well. So free plan, business plan, and so forth, receipt scanning and multi-currency. So at this point, we haven't implemented the receipt scanning. I mean, look, we could continue with the receipt scanning. You guys let me know. Do you want to see maybe that as our premium business feature? Who knows, right? It's up to you. But in the background, while this is building, I'm going to go ahead and have basically and say, for phase 4, I want you to run me through the steps on what I need to do inside of the Clerk dashboard for all of the billing setup. And then I'm going to tag the plan. And this is why it's important to tag that plan. And you can see how efficient we are right now. Barely any stress. We're kind of running through. We've done good things. And this is mainly because, like I said before, you see how that plan was so damn effective, right? That is the difference between vibe coding well and generating slop, right? So let me read the phase 4 section of the plan specifically. Now I have all the phase 4. So let's go here. Let's see Clerk, enable Clerk Billing. We already did it. Create your features. Okay, cool. So remember it was the Clerk invoice. So we got invoices, expenses. So let's go over here now and see. So I'm gonna make this a bit more full screen so we can see what's going on. So in fact, if I just close, okay, yeah. You know what? Maybe can we make that a bit bigger? Oh, I guess it's most fun. Create your features. So what I want to do here is go to configure, go down here, and we can see billing, subscription plans. Right? Or actually, first you check the settings. So enable, so organization billing, and you see Clerk payment gateway. So perfect for the development, for testing, and then when you're ready to go to production, you switch to Stripe account. Right? But in this case, organization billing, create a plan. Now, we have different features. We have invoice, expenses, clients, but firstly, we actually create the plans. So the first one is actually free, okay? So Clerk generated free plan, but in this case, we need to change it to free. And then you see we've got Pro. Now for Pro, we can decide the pricing structure, okay? So for Pro, first things first, we give it the name. So we're gonna say Pro, the key is Pro. And then for the price, we can say Pro. What should we charge, guys? I think maybe we do, let's just say $19.99 a month, and you can give it an annual base charge. Oh, they did it. This is awesome. This is new. They added seat-based billing, guys. Oh, this is cool. Very nice. Charge organized based on the number of members they have. Wow. I love that. This is very cool. Right. So they only, oh, wow. They added this. Okay. Maybe we use that. Seat-based billing. Let's have a look. I mean, you know what? I just saw that now. So Clerk Seat-based billing. That's very new. Clerk now. Oh, 16 hours ago. Let's go. Shout out to Alex from the Clerk team. Absolutely awesome. So starting today, this is awesome. 16 hours ago. I didn't even know this when I scheduled this live. Clerk Billing now supports plans with seat limits. Wow. Okay. Starting today, membership limits can be granted directly by subscribing to a Clerk Billing plan. And you can see here, unlimited seats, up to 25 seats, up to 10 seats. Amazing. More seats features to come. How to create a seat plan. Navigate to toggle on the seat-based section. If you'd like a plan to convey an unlimited member seats, leave unlimited. You may need to have BTP authentication add-on. Okay, very nice. Let's actually do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, what I want to do is, so the one where it's building that here, so we're going to let this build. So did it do it? I think it did it. So firstly, I'm getting confused. So we've got a few agents running. So billing setup, this one was quantified. So continue with phase 4 is now here, but let's modify. So phase 4. So I'm gonna say, so Clerk recently, well, 16 hours ago, just introduced seat-based billing. Read this blog. We want to go ahead and implement this. So we're staying on phase 4 until we've changed this. I want you to update the plan that we have created, and I'll reference the plan. And I also want to have each different tier support different number of seats. So let's go ahead and do this, right? So Clerk, and again, you can do little typos and fix it up. So in this case, we're going to do this. And I can actually switch to even a plan mode at this point, right? So I can go into a plan mode and this will start to modify things out, right? So we can kind of pause on this one here because we're going to make a couple of changes and we don't want too much overlapping. So phase 4, I'm going to close that one, run the continue line. So we're going to close that one. We don't care about that. And this one as well is, we're going to close that one. So we got one over here. In fact, what I like to do is, archive the old ones that we don't care about. So that's a lot cleaner. So we're going to go ahead and implement this now. So shout out to Clerk. Jay, make a note of that we are covering seat-based in this one. That is so cool. Really happy with that because I've been waiting for this feature to get released. And it's huge because I use it in a ton of stuff. So amazing. Okay. That makes Clerk honestly like so much more valuable than they already were. Honestly, it's unreal. I love it. Right. So now in Pro, we're basically going to have a seat base. Right. So we're going to say up to like 25 members and so forth. Cool. So what changed in the code? So in this case, right. Clerk recently changed, blah, blah, blah. Updated plan with Clerk seat limits. So free, we have seat limit 1 member, Pro 5 members, business unlimited, right? Toggle on seat base, custom limit, and nice. So I'm gonna say, run me through the Clerk billing steps, so I can set up the Clerk dashboard side of things, and tell me if you updated the plan and everything, so that we can continue afterwards gracefully. Don't continue any more phases until I say so. So you see how I'm very explicit with it, right? So now I want to get explicit instructions, and I do this because I want it to be completely in sync with me as I'm setting things up in the back end, right? So the plan has not been updated yet, right? So in this case, I'll update as soon as you switch me to agent mode. Okay, so we can do it afterwards. Enable billing, we done. Create this free plan, free. We can do that afterwards. So we need to do the free plan afterwards. But let's do the Pro plan first. So Pro, we're going to do 5 seats. We're going to do a monthly, if we do a yearly price, we're going to change it to, let's say, $15.99 it'll become. So you'll be charged $191 for Pro if you pay upfront for a year. And then features. So invoicing, expenses, clients, reports, recurring invoices. So add feature. And now you can see when we go here, we've got already these features, but this is different. These are permissions, okay? So what I'd like to do here is just pop in this, and I can say here, I already see some permissions as features. Do I need to create separate features, or are we gonna use these existing permissions / features? So this again is like part of going back and forth, because we could make it more simple if we kind of maybe reuse some of these. But again, I would say we probably need to create new features, right? So these are likely from the permissions that these are 100% from the permissions we created. So you can see here, you can even have publicly available and so forth. So let's have a look. These are exactly the right features. Use these existing ones. They were all created by Clerk when you set up the permissions. So Pro plan has invoices, expenses, clients, reports, and settings, right? Then you also need to create 2 new features via the new feature recurring invoices. And okay, so what was the other one? It was recurring invoices. Two new features, recurring. Okay. You said 2 new features, but only showed me 1. It's very interesting. Okay. You're right. This is a typo. It should say 1 new feature. There you go. See what I mean? How it's crazy sometimes. All right. We're going to firstly apply these features to the Pro plan. Click on save. And then I'm going to add 1 more feature. So here, and then we're going to click on, and again, sometimes you have to retick it, I noticed. So we're going to do recurring invoices. Okay. And for this, you can even give it a nicer name. So we're going to say recurring invoices. Recurring invoices. And you see the key is correct. Description, you can give it a description as well. And then see, to limit access, you need to go ahead and give it a silent row. That's fine as well. But for now, we're just going to create a feature. Cool. Recurring invoices. And then, so use all 5 existing plus this. Cool. Continue into billing. So now I don't know if it actually saved that. So what I sometimes like to do is go back into Pro, go back down. And you see, sometimes I've noticed this little bug. I'll get it fixed with those guys and click on apply. Just make sure you come back. And just make sure it's all correct, right? So saving changes, there we go, okay? And you see how now that's great. And we've got a plan which has been created. That's much better now, okay? So there we have it, right? I'm not gonna give a free trial as well. You can give a free trial as well. You can give a free trial. I mean, we could do free trial like 7 days. So if you did wanna give a free trial 7 days, you could do that. So let's do that one, 7 days. You know, maybe you let them. So look, just from this one page, we've got free trial, monthly fee, an annual fee with the discount, seat-based pricing, and feature gains. Like, it's so good. It's unreal. And you can even give it a description. We can say the Pro plan to get started, and save. Okay. And then we've got the business plan, which has everything from Pro plus create 2 new features. So in this case, we go back to plans. I'll answer any questions afterwards. You see the free plan as well. If we go back to free, I want you to go back to the free plan and we're going to check a few things out. So in free, we want to have invoices, expenses, and clients. We don't have reports, and we don't have the settings, I guess. So for free, and then also for this, we're going to get rid of that. So the features, invoices, expenses, and clients. Okay. So this shows permissions like org invoice create work for free plan orgs. Okay. So invoice. Okay. Nice. So we've got invoices, expenses, and the free is also correct. And then Pro. And then we have the final one, which is business. And if we go up here, let's just do another little check on the business side. So type in business. So go back to plans, create plan. And we're going to say business. Tends to be a bit more of your way more expensive plan, so $79 a month. So we can say the plan for the big companies, right? Free trial, we can give it a 3-day free trial, publicly available, monthly, and let's just say monthly or $79.99. And we can say if you pay annually, it's going to be dropped down to $69.99 a month. So you pay upfront $800. Seat-based, we're going to say yes, but we're going to say unlimited members, right? And this is free for development, but premium, unlimited. So in this case, we can say, yep, okay, we agree with that. And for features, we're going to click on also in this case, invoice, expenses, clients, reports, settings. And then if we go down, I want you to go down to what we have here. And the final other 2 we needed was recurring invoices as well. Firstly, click on apply all, and then click on save. And we need to add 2 more, AI receipt scanning and multi-currency. So we're going to do a new feature here, AI receipt scanning. So again, we can do AI receipt scanning. Okay. And then description, you can give it a description if you want. In this case, I'm just going to get okay. And then multi-currency as well. So multi-currency. Okay. Description, publicly available. Yes. Create the feature. Cool. Receipt scanning, multi-currency. Cool. And again, I feel like that bug happened. So we need to go back into our business, go down here, make sure everything's good. And then you can see, I just need to toggle those 2 to make sure it's all applied. Okay. So weird little quirky bug, but we can get it fixed, right? So I'll tell the guys, because this is already incredibly powerful. The fact we get all this out of the box. Now I have the overall setup. That's great. So we have 5 limits and then unlimited. That's awesome. Now if we see over here, This is great. You want to go ahead and check with the AI that you're all good. And then this is good, new features, okay, cool. Now what I want to do is I'm going to say, update the plan to highlight these changes, and then tell me when you're ready to proceed to the next phase. Okay. So again, you want to keep an eye on your context. We're doing awesome, by the way. And you can see how much I don't focus on the app looking great in the beginning, you know, all that, those kind of things. Somebody Devis goes, if you want all of the AI goodies, 75 plus 75 a month plus tax tokens. Says, I wish QuickBooks was 59.9. I know, guys. We're undercutting, right? So, but you can see how I focus on the architecture first, right? So now it's updated the plan, existing features, all created. Okay, there you go. Now let me update to description, key architecture to reflect seat-based billing. Okay. Now just see, we were on phase 4, feature getting in the app. I think we didn't. No, we did phase 4. So phase 4 to do in the front matter. So phase 4 to do all code. Phase 4 is already in place. Ready to commit phase 4 and move on. So we've already done phase 4. Okay. And then at that point, you would do the same flow. I'd recommend you run through your review. So jump into review, you go ahead and check it through, Again, I actually get my AI agents to review my code. So I've got a whole flow here. Again, like I said, if you want to check that out, you feel free, sign up to the second link in the description, join the AI community. We're going to be launching very, very shortly to go ahead and see how I do that. But this is something which in the meantime, you can do a manual review here if you want to. Let's go ahead and restart the music. Now, I'm going to say it was all good. So it's going to say ready to come before. Yes, commit all changes, and let's commit all changes. So let's go ahead and do that. And then in a moment, if we see over here, we should go ahead and see we get a new commit message in the sec. So this is going to go ahead and commit, and you can see on this side, I can actually still see what my AI is up to. So you can see Command D, getting used to switching between the two. Now I hope it answers the question. Look at how much visibility I have here compared to like Claude Code, for example, right? You're not doing these commits at this point in Claude Code. I know for a fact, right? I'm going to commit my continual learning. This is for me, essentially. And if you want to see like it just goes ahead and adds in a couple of logs and so forth. And this is mainly for internal stuff to make sure my AI gets a bit better. Now, heading back over, Command D. Let's go ahead and continue on the build. And I'm already at 200K tokens, but it's fine. I'm going to continue on with this. So let's say, let's continue and build phase 5. Okay. And this is where it gets really interesting, right? So let's go back to our plan and let's see what we're at with phase 5. So phase 5 now is going to be for core features. We're talking the dashboard with the cards. We're talking the invoicing. We're talking the expense tracking. This is really like kind of the brunt of the app, right? The 5D is clients and contacts. And then we also have the reports. Phase 6 is webhook and data sync. Okay. So that's going to be like when we test it. And you see how I'm going to test it when we get to phase 7, right? So once we get to that point, or even after phase 8, I'm going to begin my testing. Okay. And you can see already, if we go to cursor, we go to our settings, cursor settings, I would have used a very, very small percent. Guys, look at this. Like, no joke. I haven't even moved a percent. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like, use it carefully with the right planning. And you see, by now, if you didn't do planning, you would have raked through so many tokens and got a bad outcome. This is the difference. This is what we teach. This is what we try and go towards, this approach. That's why I kind of want to do these live streams way more. So important, right? So we got a question from Muhumu. It says, hey, Sunny, do you recommend augment code review for PS? I don't understand the question, dude. You might have to be a bit more specific. Okay, so you see, like, good. I have all the icon names now. Let me build phase 7 first, then dispatch subagents for phase 5 pages in parallel. Okay, so phase 7 dashboard shell. So it's doing the phase 7 dashboard shell, which is reliant on it. Oh, okay, so there was a parallel step. It's okay. To be fair, we've got the approach in the kind of, the takeaway from what I was doing before. So I actually don't care if it does that, because this is quite clever, because now what it's doing is, look, dispatch parallel agents for the dashboard, client, invoices, and expense pages. And if you see it, click into it, it's still dispatching those in Claude Opus, which is absolutely fine for me. I'm happy with that, right? So it's doing 1, 2, 3 different sub agents. This is very effective, right? It's doing it in parallel now. The reason why it's doing that in parallel, by the way, guys, is because if I go to my cursor settings, I've actually got a plugin which enables parallel development. So if we go to plugins and we go down to here, marketplace, go down to development orchestration, and you can see parallel. See, there you have it. So parallel setup and all this, I'm pretty sure it was here. This is the one that orchestrates for parallel. So if you do want to do that as well, just know that obviously you're burning like quite a few tokens at once, right? So let's see. Tonka says, I sort of started abusing Claude superpower skills. It asks questions to make sure about everything before committing to the plan. Superpower skills, I actually haven't checked out that, to be fair. I'm not sure which one you're referring to, but let's have a look. It can get annoying, to be honest, but really make sure you decide on things. Superpower skills. While this is happening, let's dive into that. So Clerk, Claude superpower skills. Unless you're talking about a specific thing. So Claude Code Superpowers plugin actually delivers. Okay, interesting. So someone on Reddit is talking about it. Superpower skills. Okay, so let's see. The Medium article, Claude Code got 100% better, 100 times better with superpower skills. Is this the skills that I'm talking about? You have them installed. It just seems like in cursor that same section you're just on. Just need to superpowers marketplace. Let's have a look. So are you talking about the actual plugin that I installed, or you're referring to a specific one called Superpowers? Just so I can be extra clear. Let's see, Superpower. I don't think I have one called Super. Oh, we do. Okay, Super. My bad. Oh yes, very good point. Yeah. I do remember this now. All right, so there is a Superpower skill which is inside that cursor orchestration bit. Thank you, dude. This is very, very good. I think it could have been here that it was doing it. So core skills library, test room development, debugging, collaboration patterns, improvement techniques. So 14 skills, and it's pretty cool. So in this case, you can see like brainstorming. You must use this before any creative work. Dispatching parallel agents. So find like prime example right now, right? And if we see, if you really dive into the thought process behind it, so you kind of expand the thinking sections, probably like explored here. So you see, like if you really dive into like kind of all the thought process and everything, chances are it probably did pull in a skill at some point earlier that it has this kind of, you know, dispatching parallel agents flow around it. And you can see here, if we dive into this, you can see that when to dispatch different agents and so forth. But this is cool actually. Even for finishing a development branch, you need to delete a branch and so forth, or however it might be, you know, like clean up. Very good. Does it work well with UI libraries like ShadCN or UI, or does it hallucinate props? Very good question. So if you noticed earlier, one thing that we did to make sure that we helped ourselves out is you go to ShadCN, go to skills, install the ShadCN skill. It's going to help you out a ton. You also have a ShadCN MCP server, right? I believe you may even have a plugin for ShadCN. I'm not sure. No, they don't have a plugin. So install the MCP yourself. But with an MCP and the skills, you can be a bit more robust in your approach, right? So that all 4 phases, all 4 pages were completed. If we click into it now, we can see that this agent went ahead and completed that page. Very nice. And we can see that done a bunch of work. We can see this one done it as well. And you can even click into this and it'll kind of highlight and show us what's going on. We've got the invoice and this one, the expenses module for this as well. Now, awesome stuff. And you see how I did it quicker because of that. We've got the report contents as well. So this is, again, we can dive into the code. And we can see, so it's handling, for example, if things weren't written correctly, category colors. And again, this is where you can go in and really, you know, start arguing certain points and so forth. Again, like right now it's using use client, which is fine. I don't mind here, but sometimes it tends to be so aggressive on that. And for example, here, format currency, refactoring patterns. So effectively, eventually what I would have done is go ahead and do a refactoring script at the end, right? Where we run through everything, make sure we've got repeated code out of the way and stuff like that. So let's see what I did. Phase 7 and phase 5 are complete. Okay, so that means it's left phase 6 for completion, which is webhook and data sync. Okay, so I did those 2 in sync. So this would have been like all the reports and stuff ready to commit when you give the word. So again, what I would recommend here, you click on review, you jump through quite a lot of code, right? So 12 pending changes. At this point, I could do Command D, I could do Command I, Command B, and now I can jump through an entire review flow. Again, I have bigger screens on my computer, like I'd have a couple screens up. I would actually go through this and check and make sure it didn't screw stuff up. Almost swore, but in this case, you can see that we run through. And this is really where I'd make sure that, you know, like for example, format currency, like I see it in quite a few spots, like here, you see format currency. I could call it out now, or I could call it out in a refactoring ticket, but just know that I've seen that a few times. So I would kind of call that out, but we're on a demo on a live stream. I want to kind of be a bit more efficient in how we move. So at this point, I'm going to say commit and proceed. So commit changes. But yes, typically I would call that out and I would do the refactor as I go, but I'm going to do a refactor with you at the end. So commit changes, yes. Quick water break. Yeah, the ShadCN does have an MCP, so definitely go ahead and install it, get it set up with whatever you're using, and that's going to go ahead and enable your AI assistant to securely connect to data source and tools, which means that, yeah, it will know exactly what props it has and so forth. Kanato says, that's mind-blowing. I don't know if Drizzle RRM has MTP server also on plugins that makes valid complex queries. I believe Drizzle does actually have a plugin. I'm sure I saw it. Drizzle, no, it doesn't. Okay, so ORM, no. So I mean, some do already, like Seat-based, a few of these have ORMs, but yeah, you can get a skill or an MTP server. I guarantee it does have. Now, remaining phases for the plans. Let's go ahead and firstly check out our changes, and you can see that very nice, right? Build dashboard, and again, look, beautiful, really nice, like commit messages. And we're going to go ahead and do the following: stage the change for continual learning. This is just for me. Okay. Now, look at that. Look at that. That is so nice. That is what you call clean. Super nice. All right. So again, I would have done the refactoring as well. Right. And I have my agents also check that flow out. So now Command D, and I want to go and drop this in, and we're going to see what else we got. So again, you can see we're pretty good with the tokens. We're not burning through a crazy amount. Phase 6 and phase 8. Right. So let's do phase 6. And I'm going to test all together afterwards. And again, this video is going to have timestamps. So the whole thing will be timestamped and everything. So you'll be able to, you know, jump to the testing point whenever you want and so forth. Way timestamp way quicker now, because again, my AI agents help me a ton with that. So I have them, actually I have a whole transcription flow. It's awesome what we do with that. Jay will mention it right now if he wants to, but it's a game changer thing that we did with that. All right. The webhook stub and audit log functions. I just need to wire the webhooks and blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Now, the thing is, we don't use we check users individually. Yeah, that's fine. All right. User management is not being synced inside. We're doing it more for the when organizations are created and so forth as an audit change. Okay, so we'll add audit logs to existing, create, update, and delete mutations. So this is going to be audit logging, so we can see an audit of, okay, who is going ahead and making things, you know. So is your headset Biodynamics? I think it actually is. I'm sure it is Biodynamic. It's a pretty awesome brand, I'll be honest. Like I went into an audio shop and it was top tier. It's like game changer. It's open air as well, so it makes it super comfortable. That's very cool. You noticed that, Rhea. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. They're Audi's. Audi's is the brand. Yeah, Audi's. So I think it is Biodynamics Audi's. Now create the HTTP endpoint. Let me know if you know what that is. That's pretty cool, right? So audit logs, let's have looks. We got our audit log here. This is for logging internal things like organization ID, who done it, and so forth. Webhook mutations. This is what happens. Basically, we're going to make sure that when changes happen, we're, you know, syncing those things. So if we see the webhook mutations right here, and then we got the route, this is going to be important for making sure that we don't know what's going on now. This is replacing cloud and site, which is not necessary because in our environment file, we already have site URL. So site URL already ends in .site. So we can actually say ends in .site. So no need for replace logic. Just pop that in, let it finish what it's doing, but afterwards we can queue that. Because yeah, again, like I just spotted that little thing here. There's no need for that extra step. Basically what it's trying to do is for webhooks, it can't use that as the URL. It needs .site. So now Convex includes this as by default as an environment variable. So we don't need to do the little replace trick, because I used to do that manually, I remember, right? Then you can see in every single function, we're actually, every time we do an action now, so update status, for example, we run a mutation, right? And you can have a wrapper around these if you really want. Right now, we've got some repeated code. I'd say a code quality exercise you could do afterwards is probably change that. But for now, I think it's fine. Right? Every time we do something, we're basically saying, if we delete, we're going to run a, modify the audit log and so forth, right? Basics is done, only ready when you are. So in this case, you can see that ends in .site. So good catch. Let me fix the webhook route to use that site URL directly. At this point, it's going to read the file. It's going to make a change. And now we can see that it gets rid of that. So it can just directly use the site URL. Okay. Now that webhook requires a webhook secret. So we're not actually doing, so again, right now we've got verify webhook. So we need to actually have a step here. So webhooks require us to set things up on Clerk's side, and then you need a webhook signing secret. Run me through those steps. So at this point, it hasn't done that. So this is something which you would never know unless you really did it, right? So go to Clerk endpoint, go to webhooks. So we go to developers, we go to webhooks. And you can see, look at this, right? So now go add endpoint, and we can see, look, we've got our API endpoint. So now what I want you to do is go to your environment local, and you can see in our development, it's actually this one that we're looking for. So HTTP convex.site. So this is what we're going to put in, and then it's going to be it's not this one, it's .site. Then it'll be /API/webhooks /clerk, right? It's actually this right here. And then it would be organization created, deleted, and organization membership created. And again, you can talk to it and change this out as much as you want. Organization, we're going to do created, deleted. You could do updated as well. I guess that would be kind of cool. But organization membership, so we're doing when someone, I guess, joins. Organization membership created, right? But you can honestly have audit logs for all of this, and then we create it, and then you can add a description if you really wanted to. Signing secret. This is obviously a secret. Shouldn't expose that. Add the secret to your environment variables. So this one we're going to put inside a clerk over here, and then we're going to go ahead and paste that in like so. So I'm going to pop that in. Okay. And then the verify webhook function from Clerk automatically reads this environment variable. In the Clerk dashboard, click the testing tab, select an example. So we can test this as well, I believe, if we do have that ability. Testing, so we can now do this. So select a integration type. So also, by the way, you can see, look, Clerk, reload environment variable. Now it came through. I think it got past that, So if I click on save, if we can save on Clerk as well. So we should be good on Clerk. Convex functions ready, So what I want to do now is test it. So select an event type and do organization, let's say created, for example. Send example. Let's see, it should hit our backend. Oh, actually it wouldn't hit this, it would hit. So to see that, we go to our Clerk backend, so our Convex backend. So we go to our Convex, go to our functions, go to logs, and you see it did hit a 404. So post API Clerk. So API webhooks, we got a 404 on that. So I want to check something now. So this is where you see how we didn't tell us that. We had to make sure we knew what we were doing. So I'm going to say, I put it here. So I'm going to say I used this URL for the webhook URL. Isn't that correct? And then what we can do is we can also check, because I'm not sure it did it as a HTTP action, because what we can do, this is, guys, this is done it on Next.js. This is the problem. So you want to, right now you got two ways of doing this, right? You've got, you've either got this is either going to be in the Next.js webhook. So this is going to be on the Next.js app. Now, I don't think this is a good approach, to be honest. We should instead shift this responsibility to become a convex action. So at this point, we can do it like this, but not the path when we registered, not the webhook. Okay, so I actually want to use a convex action here instead of the API route inside the Next.js app. It's more scalable and it works better for keeping things in sync. Update the plan and make the relevant changes and clean up the old route. And then inform me of what the new URL should be so I can update the settings accordingly and give you the environment variable that you need. So at this point, we're going to change that, because basically what we want is we want the environment variable to actually be on Convex's. We want the webhook to be on Convex's side. So Convex is then able to do a lot of changes in itself. This is a lot cleaner, right? So instead of doing everything in what's it called, we were doing it before in what's it called, the Next.js app. So now we don't want to have an Next.js app route. There we go. We have no API on the Next.js. We're going to instead be running on Convex. That's much better in my opinion. It's also secure. It means it doesn't have to go through the app. Like, obviously it'll be server side, but still, what happens if we, deploy the app and in that time, a webhook changed or whatever the case, Convex would always be up as a cloud function. Now, what we've done is we changed from that, and you can see we've moved to this HTTP, which is how we do it. So you see in Convex HTTP, this is how we do a /clerk webhook one instead. Now, the route would have changed. So the way that would have actually changed is it would have been the following. So /, it wouldn't be all this. It would just be /clerk-webhook. And we see that because of this clerk-webhook. Click on save. And now it's actually not the environment variable. We have to actually update this inside of the Convex dashboard. So we now need to go to, so this is one thing we need. And the second thing we need is the signing secret, this one here. And these are secret, don't obviously expose these. So we go back to Convex now, we go to settings, we go to our environment variables, and we have to add environment variable. Now, this is the one, clerk environment signing secret, webhook signing secret, and then this is the signing secret. Make sure you don't have a new line. We can go ahead and hit save. And now if we do Command J, you can see Convex functions are ready. So now that's correct. Now change the webhook URL to this one, which we've already done. Keep the same event selected, and then we set in the Convex dashboard, and now we're good to go. Okay. So now we can test it out and see if that worked. So what we do is we go over to Convex, and what I recommend you do here is you open up two separate screens, have one on Clerk and then one have your logs. And now we can see if I go to test, send event, for example, organization created, send example, and you can see that message attempts. Now it was a 200. Hey, look at that. If we refresh the message attempts, boom, there we go. That is what I'm talking about. And you see how that didn't happen through Next.js. That just happened with these Clerk Convex functions. So if we go to functions now, we actually have a beautiful function called, it's actually Clerk webhook. This is it. Now we have a function which is responding to things. This is nice. This is very, very clean. All right. Thank you so much, J Music. He goes, great work. Thank you. I appreciate you so much, dude. Thank you. All right. This is awesome. All right. So now we have this. We're going to go to our code and we're going to check. And we have a few more commits, right? So we have the API. Oh, actually, it's already committed. So this is actually going to be just a simple change. So we're going to, I'm just going to say do some commits. So I want it to handle it itself. So we're going to say commit, commit changes as needed, and then proceed to phase 8. Cool. Now we're on the final part, okay? So we're gonna go over to, while it's doing that, we're gonna see our plan, and look, we're at 258,000 tokens, okay? So we're still pretty good. So phase 8, where are we at? Phase 8, yeah. Organization settings, general, company name, email, address, logo, upload, billing, embed, organization profile, members, invoice, defaults. Now, I don't think we actually implemented the AI scanning and the upload feature yet. Thank you so much. One Piece goes, nice community and great mentors. Shout out for Sunny and Jay. I appreciate you so much, dude. Thank you so much. Like I said before, and look, just as we're about to hit 2 hours, that's absolutely awesome. Go ahead and sign up to the community. Be a part of this. I promise you it's going to be the best thing you ever did. Second link in the description. Sign up to it. Xero to AI Agent is going to be the place to be. All this coding stuff we're doing, all of my AI agentic flows, how I have 8 AI agents working for me right now. Absolutely crazy stuff. So sign up, and all this kind of good energy is what we're about in the Papa Fam. I feel so good today. I feel like we're absolutely killing it. All right. So now, this is like one of my best streams. I feel like it's been awesome. So all 8 phases are complete. Nice. I went ahead and built those changes, which we obviously need to review. And then you can see, let's actually see what it is. So commit changes and then proceed. It added in settings, contents, and let's see what it did. Okay. So, okay. It's kind of a chunky file, but we can dive into that when we test it, I think. Right. Commit. Look at this. Nice. Very, very nice. The quantify MVP plan is fully implemented, right? And that is awesome. I'm just going to ask it a question. What features did we not implement yet? So just a quick question there. And also Command E, I believe it actually just went ahead and so it actually did the commit. So this is where you kind of need to rein it in sometimes and be like, don't commit in the future, you know, ahead of me like that. And it's also doing made with cursor. We can probably get rid of that commit message in the settings. But you can see, look, missing charts. So here's what's in the plan, but not yet implemented. Missing features, invoice update mutation, missing features, date range filtering. See, this is what I'm talking about. So I have found that this tends to happen, right? So no UI references them, they're future features. So like AI receipt, multi-currency, and recurring invoices. These are things which it kind of bothers me sometimes because it does this a lot. It's missing stuff, right? So that's why I asked that question at the end. So what I want to do now is I'm going to say, make a plan to add these missing features so we have a complete build. Okay. Now, the next thing is, in addition, create the recurring invoices, AI receipt scanning, and multi-currency features. So create the following. And I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to have these 3 features, but I'm going to have them as little bit like kind of tack on points. So here I'm going to say use convex storage for storing the receipts. Must be secure, must be isolated per organization. Yeah. And then we're going to say use OpenAI for scanning. Scanning. We could do embeddings so you can have an understanding, but in this case, use OpenAI. We can say GPT 5.4 for scanning. You can do 5.3 mini, whatever model you want. GPT 5.4 is what I'm going to say here. Multi-currency, and also, if needed, use Vercel AI SDK. Tends to keep things clean. I prefer to use that where we can, if needed only, right? So multi-currency, so implement those basically, right? So I'm going to create a plan now around that. Okay. While that's happening, let's just take a little gander at what's going on in the app, right? So at this point, we should be able to jump into our app so we can see sign in. We can continue with Google. Let's have a look. So sunny.sanga, and let's jump in. So here you can see continue, and we log in, and we should at this point see an organization screen. Hey, set up your organization. Nice. So we're going to call this one Papa Fam. I don't actually have a logo on this computer. I don't think. I'm going to try and find a logo on my computer to see if I can do that. So pictures, I have a picture of me. Do I have company assets? I do. Oh, I do have one. I have a picture of me. I have the YouTube banner as well. I have a picture of me. Let's just do a headshot. All right, it's one of my old days. If you remember this haircut, you'll know this is back in the day. All right, so Papa Fam, let's go ahead and do continue. Thank you, Jay, for sending me one, but I'll use this one for now. All right, so Papa Fam, and then let's go back over. And then we're at the dashboard, which is a 404. Interesting. So at this point, we have a 404 at the dashboard. So let's just have a quick look at the folder structure. So we can see marketing, pricing, we have dashboard, we have page.ts, which is correct. There is a page at dashboard. So we're gonna have to debug that in a moment. So what I would recommend you do is, firstly, let's answer these. Let's create a new chat to say, I got a 404 at the dashboard. So what gave a 404? Debug this, right? So let's do that for now. And then over here, when it comes to those missing features, for the AI receipt scanning, do you already have an OpenAI key if or you need guidance? I already have an API key, but I'm going to say I'll need guidance on setting it up just so I can show you guys for my currency, how should the exchange rates work? Or fetch from free API, open exchange rates, and the users override. I think if that is actually free, we could use that. But we could also do users and their exchange rates, but let's do auto fetch for now. And let's see if it can actually figure that out, right? So only recognizes middleware. So apparently at some point it added a middleware. So middleware, no, it didn't add middleware. So you see, look, I'm trying to project setup. So again, sometimes I'll be honest, if you read the thought process, it can be jarring, right? So I don't always think it's a good idea. So it's new name up in the dashboard. Let me think about this. Exist and hashtag suspicious. Right, what I would recommend actually as well is, just so we're clear, just cut the server and run it again. We've done tons of changes just to absolutely make sure. And then I would run it. Yeah, so in that case, we cut the app. Yeah, and then let's go ahead and see. So if we do a refresh. Okay, so that's a bit better now. Right, so let's stop that debug. So yeah, I should have probably done that, right? So show doesn't exist in the target module. So you see here, right now, we've got a little bit of an issue, app sidebar. So firstly, there's a few linting issues. So if we look inside the app sidebar, show is not being pulled through in Next.js in Clerk. Now, if we go to package JSON, chances are we could be on an old version. Yeah, we're on an old version. So that's interesting why it did that. So Clerk Next.js needs to be on the latest version, so 7.0.8. So we need to say actually upgrade Clerk Next.js to 7.0.8. And then you see Clerk React should get pulled up alongside that as well, 5.6.1.3. That's actually correct. So sometimes it's very frustrating that it does that, because why would it pull in the old one? It's a bit stupid, but it currently on. Oh, that was probably the template. The template where that's what pulled it in. So look, it probably is now. Now it would be here. So it just needs a little refresh. And sometimes you can do a TypeScript refresh, TypeScript reload project, restart TypeScript server. And you can see it will typically go away. Okay. Now Clerk V7 has been renamed to Clerk React. Okay. So it's going to do a couple of changes there as well. So it's doing a few bits of cleanup. So something I probably should have mentioned when we checked out in the beginning is that would have been very important to mention. That would actually go ahead and fix a few things. Now, if we go here and we go back, pm dev, let's restart. We did a big change there. Pre-existing issue in client's page, use query. Now it's going to have a few issues, linting issues. So let's dive into those. So at this point, okay, we do see the dashboard now, but we get no organization selected issues. So, so this is now where we can start diving in. So upon landing after I signed up for the first time, I created an organization and then I was redirected to the dashboard where I got the following error. And then, and then I've actually got the error here. So we paste the error in. And then I also want to say, whilst we do this, we should also scan the rest of the app for lint issues and get those fixed as well. And I'm going to change this to a plan mode because I want to do a thorough plan, like a thorough check through of this. Now, while that's happening, I'm going to jump over here, archive this one, and let's jump over here. So this plan is for the extension of the new features. Okay. So part A, missing MVP features, dashboard charts, invoice edit and update mutation, public invoice link as well. Okay. So remember, a public invoice is very cool actually to be able to give a public invoice out to someone else. Client outstanding balance. So this is kind of cool. Show balance, outstanding reports, charts, settings, logo page, premium features, recurring invoices. This would be very cool. This would be a cron job where it would be recurring. So if an invoice every week, for example, it would, that cron would hit accordingly every week and so forth. B2, AI receipt scanning. So you can either use a cron here or you can use a scheduled function. So would a cron or a scheduled function inside of Convex be a better decision for the recurring invoices? So I'm going to continue to iterate on the plan. Receipt scanning. So in this case, it's going to add AI SDK from Vercel. Export scan receipt using org action, takes expense receipt, receipt files in Convex storage. Okay, and Jay, can you get hold of a dummy receipt for me, please? And just send it to me, just so I have something. Again, obviously it should just be a dummy one, not really have anything sensitive on there. Yeah, a multi-currency as well. Great, blah, blah, blah. And then set exchange rate API key and Convex dashboard, which we're gonna have to set up, I guess, right? If using a paid tier or open exchange rate, free tier needs no key. Okay, we can use the free tier. Again, that will get rate limited, by the way. So it's worth mentioning. So when it comes to like exchange rates, you can have like maybe one cron job. So we as a company fetch the exchange rate every 5 minutes once, and then everyone's going to use it. So that could be one way of doing it. So we could say we can actually implement that in. So for the exchange rate, the actual counterfei company, so like meaning the entire company, should fetch the exchange rates, for example, once every 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever makes sense. And then a cron should fire off where it's refreshed to keep it updated. That means regardless if we had 1 million users, it's only going to refresh once every 5 or 10 minutes, whatever we set. It should also be very easy to change that value inside of our code. You see how that is a very important factor. Otherwise, you'd get billed a really, really high amount. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and check. So API key, so I have that, and then exchange rate key. Okay, so let's go ahead and let that do. We're doing very well on time as well. So an organization created. So okay, now after I sign up, because this is also fixing an issue flow. So problem analysis, an organization creates because of race conditions. Nextjs middleware sees the user, but the Convex JWT user client may not have the org ID claim refreshed. Right, so this is most likely because the Convex JWT doesn't have the org ID inside of it, to be honest. So if we go to sign up, go to our clerk, I actually want you to go down to JWT. So sessions, JWT, click into Convex, and we can see here, we don't have it. So this is very important. So we can show this. So the JWT token that gets issued for a user doesn't include the organization stuff at the moment. So what I want you to do is go ahead and screenshot this, and you can basically showcase this out. So I can be like, by default, it appears the organization ID and information isn't passed into the JWT token. Explain what we need to do. So I can already start to do this, but effectively what we need to do is basically go ahead and add in the organization ID, organization row, all this kind of stuff that we might need. And that's a big deal, right? That's actually the root cause. And you see, like if you let it kind of run in circles, it would have screwed things up. But this is very important right now. So we need that. So we're gonna go and add those things. And you don't want to add too much in, but this is just an ID, a row, and a slug. It's absolutely fine. We're gonna click on save. And now that will be issued when we go ahead and get that JWT. Now it's worth mentioning that user is not gonna have a great time now. So this one right here is gonna be effectively wrong. So we're gonna have to log out for this user now. So if I let me just shift this to the right, bottom right, reload. I wanna kind of quickly log out. Okay, so if you can't log out like that, go to application. We're gonna clear the site data to basically get rid of the user. Now you can see that I need to sign in if I wanna try and access the dashboard. So let's go to localhost and then let's try and sign in now. Let's go ahead and log into our user. Sunny, and this means that the new JWT should now have, okay, we don't have it there. Okay, so I did add it. See what the code fixes. Oh, so we do need to still add in the change, right? So I added in those JWT token changes. I proceed with the code fixes. And then I switch it to agent mode as well. Proceed with the code fixes, yeah. And now in the meantime, let's go back over here and check what's going on. So for the exchange rate, it's a much better architecture. One global cron for the whole platform, not per fetch. So this is for the multi-currency. You can see table has no org. The exchange rates are platform wide, or one organization serves every org. Yep. There's a million users, so on, you trigger one fetch per interval. That's what we're going to do for now. We're going to have a simple exchange rate table, which it gets pulled from. And it's public. We don't care about, that being protected. Or free table open exchange rates needs no API for into it. That's much better. Yeah. Cool. So we're gonna begin implementing this in a moment, but for now, let's go ahead and implement these changes. And before we do that, we're gonna basically do a safety commit, and then we're gonna jump forward. But we're doing really well on time. This is gonna be an absolutely incredible product. I can tell you right now. This is gonna be so sick. I already know. Little catch I saw here, use recharts already installed. So using ShadCN, rechart. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do the charts. Now again, let's jump into our settings, cursor. Let's see our billing, where we're at, plan and usage, 77%. So from today's session, we have jumped 8%. So 69 to 77%, which is not bad at all from what we've got. We've effectively got our entire product, all right? Which is absolutely nuts. Okay, so user is called after query. I need to move before. 0 times. Okay, so now let's do a refresh. And we're still getting this. So right now, if we see, it's happening at page.tsx, so org slug dashboard. So we can have a little debug ourselves. So page org slug, yeah, here. We can see in command D, let's go command B, let's have a look at some of the code. Again, we're doing a client-side render here. I would personally say that's not the right approach. We should be doing a server render and then rendering down accordingly. So I'm actually going to fight back against this point here and say, so firstly, let's accept the changes, and then I'm going to say, this page by default is a server, is a client component. Instead, we should actually convert this to a server component by default, and then at a more granular level, check or convert components to client components. That should be our practice moving forward. And also a couple, oops. Yeah. And this by default is actually, let's just undo this. Yeah. So we're going to paste that in. Now, another thing that I've noticed is, look, you see this? Repeated code, components inside. This is stuff I do not like, okay? So switch to plan mode, yeah. I don't like stuff like that. It's not a good approach, right? Even like, we shouldn't have, this should be, pages should be high level. They should be clean presentational view components. Shouldn't be like so much going on like this, right? It should be like componentized really neatly. So we need to make sure that this is done correctly. So, and also it's safer. So if it's a server component, we can actually make sure, do they even have access to this page before maybe they see a snippet of the revenue, right? So we should catch at the proxy, we should catch at the level above, just in case somehow they get through, it catches at the server ender, right? Loads of defensive programming inside, right? So I can use preload query to preload data and pass it down to client components. That's another thing that we could do pretty good. So we're going to let that kind of think it out. Dashboard 404, we can get rid of that. Command E, let's head back over here. So this is now writing a plan for us. There we go. And go to counterfeit accounting. So this one here, this plan, we jump over to that one. We asked it the exchange rate changes. So that is almost ready. And then server component dash. See, now we have like two things in pro. We kind of need to finish this one, then we update the previous plan. You can use work trees as well, but right now it's good. So convert the dashboard page from monolithic structure. Since the server component can get to. Okay, so let's build that. So we're going to change that structure right now. So that's going to go ahead and do that. So this will basically fix this issue that we have here. Because right now it could be a race condition, it could be a couple of things. So both client components. So now what it's doing is it's rewriting some of the components. So that's what you typically want. So the way you typically want to write your components with Nextjs is everything starts as a server component. You actually want to keep it that way. And then at the granular level, as you go down, basically on a page. So if we look at that page, for example, here, right? So Command D, Command B, Command I. So here, for example, this is wrong. This shouldn't be a page by default should not be a client component, right? It should be a server component. AI loves to do this mistake, right? So you can basically set up a rule, you can set up something, but look at that, boom. Get rid of all of it, right? Look at that, that's so much better. So now if we go ahead and just start accepting these changes after, so I'm going to accept it after just to show you. But look at the vast difference between that. This is way better, right? Get rid of it all. Like you see how that is much, much cleaner. We should not have it here, right? It should be super, super clean, high level at the page level. And this is something that AI does a lot of, and it creates a lot of crap that we should not be dealing with, right? So here we're going to keep the changes for now, but I'm going to show you, we'll keep the changes for now. And look, I'm going to show you. So first things first, Command E, Command B, Command I. Look at that. First thing, way more easy to read. Dashboard page. Okay. Org slug params. And then look, your financial dashboard is going to be quicker to load as well. Dashboard stats and then so forth, right? It's also going to be easier to debug. So now if we hit a refresh, we will hit an error. But now it's happening at the dashboard stats. Easier firstly to drill down on. So now we can debug that further. Okay. So now I can do Command I and I can say, not here, sorry, Command E, let's go back over here. We can say fix this. So it's still getting an error about how it's pulling in things, and that's happening at the dashboard stats. So over at this point, but you see it's a bit more granular now, a bit more easier to pinpoint exactly what's going on. Dashboard stats. Chances are it could still be the JWT token is cached. I have a feeling it could be that. That's probably actually the cause here, to be fair. It probably wasn't reissued, that JWT token. So we can actually try, we can do cleared site data, unregistered cookies, blah, blah, blah. And even for the cookies themselves, we can get rid of the cookies entirely. So Command A, go X, what's this one? Get rid of these, delete. Let's refresh. So coming back here, go ahead and get rid of this. Localhost. Let's redirect us. Let's have a look. So updating the query skip logic. No, I don't want to do. I'll let it think for a second anyway. But let's go ahead and log this user out. So application, storage, clear site data. Okay, now we head over here. We should be logging in. So interestingly enough, it still logs me. So okay, now if we go sign in, Let's try and log in as a new account just to be absolutely fresh. So team up React. I'm going to log in now, continue, and then we're going to go ahead and do an account. So, and also we can test the flow once we've done all of our big changes. So I'm just going to download a picture that Jay sent me as well. So appreciate you, Jay. Thank you. So I'm going to get that one. And then if I go ahead and do Papa Fam, I already got a picture of me. That's cool. So let's do that one. Save. Use organization is not defined. So damn it, it's doing code. Okay, it's okay. Let it do. It's fine. No organization selected. Use org ready. What is no. What is this? No. This is not good. So we're gonna stop this. Go back here to this point. No organization is selected. So let's see actually what's going on, right? So I'm going to debug manually here because the AI is starting to get a bit choppy with this. And you can go back and forth, but it's going to absolutely destroy the code, I can tell you. So dashboard stats is where the issue is happening, right? So it's happening here. Now organization, here, console log organization. So if we were to console log the organization, let's have a look. If we see the logs, we should see here that we've got a bunch of logs popping out. So there it is. We can see like tons of stuff pops through, but no organization selected. So this is correct. This is the organization. Use query. No, it's dashboard stats. So use query. Now, I don't know if we need to actually have this is the question. So API reports. So that is in dashboard stats 41. So the actual issue here is happening in org functions 71. Org functions 71. Command E, Command B, there you go. No, cancel. Command I. 71, so here. So it's actually happening here. So if identity.org, so user's identity, this is the one. So console log the identity. So we need to see at the level here if the user is actually identified. So here we have it. So Convex, this is the user's identity org. See, look, all comes through, but we've got the organization, admin, popfam, slug, create, manage. That's their roles and permissions, but it's trying to access it .org ID. So that is the problem. So that is actually it's o.id. So this log is basically showing that this is not correctly there. So this is the issue. So what we're going to do is Command E. So where's the issue happening? Here. So this log shows that this line isn't accessing the right part of the JWT token. You see how that is how you debug, guys? You see what it was doing? It was creating all these crazy helpers and assuming things, but the reality is that was the actual issue. So it's actually .o.id rather than what we were thinking. And also here as well, org row, right? So this is exactly the way this says the opens be clerk's default compacted session one, not the custom one. So and because we added that in, we actually have to add in custom TypeScript definitions. So what would have happened here is because we added in these three, this is not going to be inside of TypeScript now. So we now need to update that. So complete example, generate JWT template, we need to update it, and I believe there would be a way to do that nicely. So org functions, extract org claims, so it's getting out the org claims basically. You see that? Yeah. As unknown as record. I don't like that. I think what we can do instead is, instead of doing as unknown as record, let's instead extend the TypeScript definitions according to the documentation on Clerk's website the correct way, so we can add in the extra claims that we added for a JWT token. So what that is basically, you see these ones, we added these in. So what I can do is in part of that message, I can just say those three, right? And now basically you can extend the TypeScript definitions. So the way it does is basically like this. So JWT, so Clerk, custom claims, JWT, TypeScript, right? And I'll show you. So it's actually here. And add global TypeScript definition. So it's actually, and I can just give it this, and I can interrupt it, and I can say go back and check that. And you see, that is effectively how we do it. And that's how you're going to basically be able to successfully get inside of the right part. And that keeps our code base a lot more type safe as well. So that's how you do it, guys. Much better. Or row, or ID. And also, I don't know if it added it correctly there. So full name, primary email. So I don't think it would be at the top level, org ID, org row, and slug, because the fix was not actually there, I don't believe. But we can see, because I don't think when we tested that, it didn't come up like that. So if we go back to this, oh no, it didn't. Okay, so yeah, we changed it. There you go. So Papa Fam, oh, okay, nice. And you can see now over org functions, custom JWT, cannot find, okay, let's do a restart TypeScript server. And this is still an issue. So fix with agent, pop it in. We can, I believe we can remove that now, to be fair. This is outside the Convex directory. Do we still use this? Extract org claims? Okay, I guess we do, but I guess it's just going to move the actual config only includes files, so you can't see. So we just have to extend our TypeScript file to include that types file. Okay, so keep that over here, and now this will help out. And now we can see user property has no identity common with this. Okay, so now we get another issue. Interesting. So identity, user identity, does it extend the one that we've added in? So we can see here globals, custom JWT sessions. I don't think they extended it correctly. So if we look at the actual place where we saw it, it was inside of I should not have closed that. It was actually pretty good where we were at. History, JWT session management, this one. So it was custom claims, JWT, TypeScript, Clerk. It was here. So override Clerk interfaces with custom types. Here it was. So declare global, yes. Custom JWT, example, permissions. So role super admin. Is our code correct? I always like to pass in this documentation as well, kind of dive into things a bit more. So it added that in now, and you can see it did clear up that issue. So user identity now gets pulled through. Let's see the changes that it did as well. So over here, user identity and custom JWT session tokens. Okay, so it doesn't extend, it's just and, so it's combining. Okay, nice. Right, that's fine for now. We can do that. Cool. So at this point now, do we have any lint issues? So check for lint issues. Let's have a look. Now after that, we can do the extension task and we can test out some of the default kind of basic behavior, but we're getting very close. This is really awesome. Okay, so 2 warnings are skill and check, and these are intentional destruction. Okay, and okay, that's not so bad. So intentional destruction. Okay, so perfect. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and close that, and I can say we just updated the code base quite a bit, especially some of the dashboard layout and so forth. So check the code base once again and make sure that the plan is in line with the new changes. And now we're going to extend on those features. Now, what I want to do is also go to our, where is that? You can also add those permissions in. So you see that a second ago, we added in here, custom permissions now sync to this. So org, create quiz and so forth, like these, clerk authorization. You can add those in as well. But I do that as well. This should have actually extended, I believe, to be honest. But it done it with, I guess, maybe because we have this, it's not just that token, it's also the JWT template that we're extending. So we're extending it, but in TypeScript. Okay, anyway, it's fine. So at this point, what I want to do is dive into the code a little bit. So here we are. All right, so here we have add expense, add new invoice, and so forth. So if I was to go into add new invoice, for example, so that firstly, very nice. I mean, we can fix that. We can fix that afterwards. All right, so I'll fix that. Don't like that little caveat. But here we have the organization switcher. I'm an admin, so I can invite different users. Amazing. So let me go ahead and invite, for example, my personal email. So sunny.sanga@gmail.com. And I'm going to invite as, look, accountant or member, right? So accountant has few privileges. Member can only read. So let's do a least privilege. So that we have a full invite flow. The invitation has now been sent. I'm going to go ahead and check what's it called? My email. So let me go ahead and pull that up on a separate screen so I can show you guys. So now on my personal email, I should have got a invitation come through. So if I show you guys here, look, your invitation, boom. Sunny has been invited you to join the PubFam organization on Countify, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept that, but I'm going to accept it in a different profile. So I've got 2 profiles on my Clerk so I can test this kind of stuff. So if I go over here now and I basically open up that link, so I'm going to copy that link that was sent to me and I'm going to pop that in here. So boom, pop it in. And now what I would do is I'll get sent to that page. Okay, so now you can see that welcome Sunny. Oh, this is actually happening because it wasn't live. So am I logged in right now? Let me just check localhost 3000. I sign in. Do I have my correct sign in account? Okay, so I don't actually have sign in set up with this account. So I need to quickly authenticate this user. 1 second, guys. I just need to log in quickly to, as it's a new laptop, that is actually a fresh, I need to set that profile up once more. So I need to quickly go ahead and get my account verified so I can log into that. So quickly doing that now. 1 second. Okay. So on the right hand profile, I have my, see in the bottom left, I'm logged in as sunny.sanga. And on the bottom left over here, I'm team at Papa Riyadh. Okay, but you see, I've got access to this. So look, I'm a Papa Fam member, and here I'm a Papa Fam admin. I also have two. I have like another one that I created over there. So I have two companies for this account. But you can see here, I can't manage members. I can see the billing, but I can't manage it, right? So you can even disable this, by the way. So right now we have this set up for members as well, but we can actually disable that. So if we don't want members to see the billing, all we have to do is go over to Clerk, super easy. And you can see this is what I love about it so much, because if we go over to Clerk now and we go to organization, roles and permissions, and we go to, for example, all roles, we go to member, and we go to system permissions, you see that read billing. If I want to make sure a member can't even read billing, and they should be able to see members, I click save now, and then I go ahead and refresh. Now, when I go to here, boom, that member can no longer read the billing, because some members may not, a member shouldn't really see billing, right? So that is it. We have role-based access control already locked in. Now heading back over, you can see, look, I can't modify settings, but this person can. Hey, that is awesome, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and on the left, as an admin, I'm going to create a invoice, right? So here we've got the new invoice button, but I'm sure that we can't create as a member. So we need to make sure that that is also correct. So let's do a couple of, select client. We need to create a client first. So add a client. Let's add a client. Let's just take, for example, Sunny Sanga. Oops. Let's do Elon Musk. Elon Musk. All right, Elon at musk.com. All right, and then let's just do +1, 555, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, something like that. Company, Tesla. Create client. All right, Elon is now in the database. Awesome stuff, right? Now we have Elon. Then we go to add a invoice, select a client, Elon Musk. See invoice number 1, date issue, boom. Now we can select the date. Say the due date is like, let's go over here, currency. Say we've got some default ones. I mean, we can change these things over here. Tax rate, let's just say it was 20%. Line items, so say I bought a Model X, right? Plaid, right? Quantity, one of them, and let's say I got a really great bundle, it was $5,000. Right? So amount, and then I can add more line items. Say I got the seat covers as well, right? So prime example, let's just say, I don't know, you're doing something along the lines. Let's just say it was $20 and we've got 2. And now we've got $60,000, right, to buy this effectively, right? So 50, that's wrong. Oh, tax, 20%, okay. Now we're gonna create payment terms. So let's just say, and again, you can extend this as much as you want, right? So payment terms, 30-day net, right? So let's just say 30 days net or something like that, right? Create invoice, boom. There we go. Now we've got invoice number 1, right? It's in draft state. So I can go ahead and mark as paid, mark as sent, mark as overdue. So if we go to our dashboard now, I can see, look, it's still in draft. So this invoice, right? So if I click on view all, I can go here. Let's click on it. We don't actually have we do have a view, update status, mark as draft, mark as sent. So let's say I sent this to them, okay? Now I sent it. However, 1, we didn't collect an email. We haven't implemented email. You can set that up super easily if you want. But at this point, let's say we sent it. You can see that now we have an outstanding, right? Now, public URL is a new build step that we wanted to do. So ready to start building when you are. So let's go ahead and execute that plan firstly in the background. So start building. So our app might crash now because we might see it wrong. But you can see that we already have our outstanding balance, right? And we can see that invoice is recent invoice. We can add expenses. Let's go ahead and add an expense. Let's say it was software. Let's say it was today. Let's just say, for example, I paid for the app store download. I don't know. Let's say it was $100. And let's say the vendor was Apple. Notes was I bought, I don't know, some AI tool, right? It could be whatever we need, right? And then the receipt. So in this case, you can go ahead and tack on a receipt. So if I click this now, I'm just going to go ahead and pop in a picture. So I've got some pictures here. YouTube banner is like a picture. Upload is supported. So we set that up. Add expense. Boom. We added it. Now look, we've got a category, software, Apple vendor, amount. So we've got 1 expense. Okay. So head back to dashboard. Total expense is $100. Net income, we've already lost 100 because we haven't been paid yet. So we've got an outstanding. Okay. Now we go to this. We go to our clients. We can see Elon Musk. Can we see his, we can see his issued invoices underneath him. Go to our settings. Now you can see that billing details. Hey, look at this, we're on the free plan, but we haven't got reports. We haven't got all these other things. So now I'm going to go ahead and jump up. So I'm going to go onto my pro plan. So now I'm on the pro free trial, right? And again, you see this member is also inside this dashboard. So we go pay with test card. So now I'm going to upgrade this plan for everyone. So we go to continue. And now over here, we should see, okay, so firstly, we saw this happen, but you see, remember, they don't get access to reports, right, effectively. So they're only going to see, do they get access to reports? We've got to check these things out, right? Because we need to make sure the gating is working correctly. And I always recommend you check. Again, don't trust AI. But now we can see reports like profit loss, total revenue, so outstanding, 60,000, so forth. But everything is pretty much like starting to get wired up nicely, right? We can see the members inside of our app here. So we can see all of that. We can see the invoice defaults. This is really cool. You can set your default tax, your default invoice prefix, your default currency, right? And then we've got the general over here as well. So this is really, really cool. Was that server-side, was that SSE or Convex moment where reports automatically showed on the other account without a refresh? Oh, it's live, by the way. So, oh, you mean, wait, so where reports automatically show? No, so we do get reports. So it just took a second to kick in, I guess. So it was maybe like a, but didn't refresh basically. But no, we do get reports, and that is it should be real time or on the next refresh, basically. If you want it to be perfect, use the show component every time. Show component works super nice. Okay, so now this member, so I'm a member here, I shouldn't be able to create an invoice. So this person can apparently create an invoice, which is not right. Okay, so that's obviously not correct. Okay, when you update the comment, it's based on Convex. What is Clerk doing? It's Clerk. Clerk is doing the permission gating based on Clerk Billing, right? So you can see now. So now, for example, let's go ahead and say that this member wants to be an accountant, right? So we need to promote that member to an accountant. We go to members, simply go ahead and promote him to an accountant. I'll show you that if we change him to an accountant, now we can see over here, we should in a moment, if I see, so they don't actually get any more sidebar options, but things like the actual ability to create an invoice and so forth, those options should have been changed. So we need to modify some of the permissions and roles, but as an accountant now, you see I'm now an accountant. I should have different roles, like different abilities. You see an accountant can't see members, right? Okay, now it's started to go ahead and code. So someone said hands up, please. No, absolutely not. I mean, yeah, do it if you want, but feel free to. Again, I'm trying to teach AI coding. You can change it if you want. You can do tan stack if you really want, right? So let me read the files. I need to modify and start building. So now it's going to start building out things. It's doing it in parallel. So it's going to go ahead and start building these. So this is pretty cool. It's done one. Next, in Convex accounting setup. And let's actually see the entire plan that it was working on. I remember even here, and again, I should have committed before we did this, but at this point, you understand the principle that I would go by. It's because I'm live streaming right now that I kind of forget to do that stuff. But at this point, we've got the dashboard charts, we've got invoice edit and update, public invoice link. This is very important, right? Because obviously, like for example, when we issued Elon an invoice, when we issued him an invoice, a public invoice link. Like at that point, we should be able to send a public invoice link and be like, yeah, here you go. Check out the thing with the bank details and everything like that. I'm not going to put banking details inside of this. I mean, you can very simply, but the point of this is not to be like, I covered every single corner. I'm trying to show you that really, you see how fast we can get there? Like, guys, it's only been 2 hours, 45 minutes, and we've literally covered so much. It's unreal. And the main thing that I want to kind of talk about is, I'm showing that. Yeah, I just, honestly, firstly, thank you for being a fan. I appreciate you. And also thank you, One Piece. He goes, thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate you so much, dude. The main reason is because honestly, I'm focused on Nextjs. Right? I love Nextjs for what they do. If you want to use TanStack, you can feel free to do that. But right now we're doing this, right? So in this case, I just want to show you as well. So let's say I make this user an admin, right? So I want to make them an admin. So members, so if I go into manage right now, they can't see anything, right? If I give them admin access, boom. Now this person in a moment will see settings. So typically it's on the refresh unless we use show, but you can see here that now I can manage, I'm an admin. So role-based access works, Clerk handles all that out of the box. We need to make it mobile responsive is another thing. Company logo, a few things like that appear on invoices and client communications. If I was to give, for example, a image here, so let me go ahead and give a image. So let me just do something like the YouTube watermark. Boom. Oh, so hostname GDPoodle Convex Cloud is not okay. So we actually need to add this in our next config. So that's gonna break in a moment when it comes back. Oh no, we broke something. So it's coding a bunch. So give that a minute, right? While it's doing that, while that's happening, I also want to go to next config and add that in. So images, remote patterns, and then we've got one which is going to be for Giddy. Oh damn it, I didn't add that. It's going to be from EMB local. It'll be from this GDPoodle one. So from here. So this would be GDPoodle Convex Cloud. So little trick idea you can do it yourself. All right. So now the app's crashed, I believe. No, so there you go. So image upload. So that should have fixed that. But if we go ahead and just do it again. So if I want to go, for example, water ranks, there you go. It's uploading. If it doesn't work, there you go. So it does work now. So that's because you have to whitelist where you're allowing it to load images from. And now if we go to our invoices, go to that invoice right here, cannot resolve Lucid React. Okay, so again, Lucid React is not working. And that is because, remember, we're using actually a different library than Lucid React. We're actually using, what's it called? That huge icons, I guess it's called. Huge icons, was it huge icons? Yeah, huge icons. So yeah, so you shouldn't be using Lucid React. Again, this is where AI can get a little bit choky when you start adding things in. One time I kind of built similar app for laboratory system and it takes me a month and a half to finish it, but you kind of built in 2 to 3 hours. It's kind of magic. Thank you so much, dude. Again, just time and experience. That's all it is. Like, again, just know the fundamentals and how to get to where we're doing right now. And then you can do the same thing, right? So we have this working pretty nicely. So after this, we're gonna go ahead and do this. All premium features are built. Nice. So the only thing is the linting issues around Lucid React. So page invoice. Let's go to this one here. So Lucid. Interestingly enough, I don't think we had Lucid in there. So not really sure why that was doing that, but also, why is my computer deciding to go kind of crazy right now? So okay, let's close these out for a sec. Let's go back into the app. Right, so page.tsx org slug invoices. So I want to check here. So let's just throw this error in, and we basically say we use Hug icons or something like that, not Lucid icons. It knows because it's got context anyway, right? Open API key, so EMB. So I need to open up, add in my OpenAI API key. So this one, OpenAI. So here, I'm going to go and get that key and I'm going to paste it in. So the way you get in the key is you just go to platform.openai.com. I believe it's this. Yep. And now I need to log in. I'm going to do that right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and get a key. So you can feel free to do that yourself. I'm not going to show you this obviously because my key is, protected. But you can see here inside of API keys on the left, you want to go there, go to create new secret key. In this case, I'm going to call mine countify demo. And then I'm going to click on create secret key. And you obviously want to hide this one because this is build, right? So this one is going to be charging. So obviously I'm not going to expose that key. And then we paste that into my environment file. And now I've basically added that in. So now I've got that in environment file. You really obviously want to protect that one because that's build. Okay. So now it's changing all the icons to huge icons. And already we're getting some better outlook on things. So Now we have the app running. So localhost, let's go back to our dashboards. Invoices, let's have a look. So invoice, copy share link. Hey, look at that. If I do a incognito window and I click it, now, hey, look at that, guys. That is clean. Very nice, right? I can't see the company logo, the company details. I can't see that company name, email, and so forth. So in this case, if I did, for example, team@papareact.com, maybe I didn't save the changes. I don't know. Let's do +1. Let's just do something like this. 1, 2, 3, developer lane. Save. Let's have a look. So this should be showing company information. So company information is not shown on, and also here, look, we're racking up tickets here. So you want to be very careful. So after this, we're going to go ahead and fixed and committed. That's fine. So we're going to get a new one. I'm going to go ahead and pass in the following. So we'll say company information. Company information that is saved inside of settings such as the image and all the details is not being shown in the invoices. That means the public share page as well as the preview page that we show that when we're editing and seeing an invoice in our own dashboard. So those two we're going to go ahead and pop in. So we want to have effectively all of this information pop up in invoices. But already this is kind of cool. And even send, like, I mean, you could decide if you really want that there, but an invoice is not valid until you have like company information, for example, as well as their company information. So it should even be showing theirs. But again, the point is that you can change that stuff up yourself, right? You can go to clients, for example, go here. And then here we've got, for example, the address is blank. So if we're going to edit client, the address, we don't have the address, right? So here, when creating and editing a client, we need to store the address and also their details need to be shown in invoices. And then we go ahead and pop that into also. I'm going to grab my quick image that I copied and paste in that image as well and paste that in. So I can see the issue clearly. The invoice functions don't fetch the organization settings and the invoice don't render that information. So it's going to fix those. And then we're going to go ahead and implement the next fix. And this is really where you can start testing things out and kind of getting things in. And again, UI fixes, you can go through and change yourself, right? The main thing is firstly, role-based access authentication works. We also have feature gating, right? So features are being gated accordingly. We also have the seat limit, right? So at this point, if I go to, for example, members, and I try to invite, right? We've got 2 of 5 seats. Hey, look at that, guys. 2 of 5 seats. And if I want to upgrade, so for example, switch plans, okay? And of course, you can have an upgrade button down below, whatever you want to do. Or you can go into, for example, billing and do it here, switch to this plan. And say, for example, like, look, we're doing yearly. We're going to pay $839. We should have unlimited seats after this. So we even have seat-based billing, which is absolutely sick, right? Go to manage now, go to billing. I love this. Well done to the Clerk team. That is awesome, right? So now if we go to members and I go to invite, guys, no more member, restrictions. We just have unlimited members that we can invite. That is absolutely awesome. All right, I love that. Absolutely incredible. And even if you go to your user account manage, you see that we've got our own stuff here, obviously. That's awesome, right? So heading back over, you can see even the reports. I mean, the reports, again, that expense category. So at this point, we've got one category. And really right now, I mean, it's not showing too much greatness, but and you can have exporting reports and all that kind of stuff. But let's just go. Oh, look. Okay. We're getting there. Jay, this is pretty cool. Even for us, this is pretty cool. So look, you could send that to someone and that would actually be a functioning invoice. All right. So again, yeah, look, am I a fan of all the roundedness? Maybe not. But again, does it work? Well, yeah, technically, right? In this case, you've got bill to their details. You've got our own, details, and you'd have your company name. You've got your invoice. Is this me, or when were you doing clone project by hand, or it was faster overall? Do you know? Yeah, because I had already prepped it before. So remember, when I was prepping it before, I had done the build before, and then I would rebuild it. I had no plan. This was literally planned out, executed, and built from scratch on a live stream. So, and then I'm going through and teaching you all the important things to look for. And you guys can let me know in the comments right now. There's been some seriously huge gems here, but yeah, very good question though, nevertheless. right? So at this point, look, sent. Now let's say this person paid, right? So for example, if we go over here, still building that bit out. Yep. So now, for example, if we go to the invoices, and you can have loading states as well. So right now there's not a loading state clearly in everything. So update the status. Let's say, for example, this person paid. Cool, they paid. Now we go to dashboard. Look, hey, total revenue collected. Nice. And obviously these things you can go through and debug yourself and kind of fix up and get those things done. Gating as well. Members should not be able to add expense. So that was a bug. So here we can do another one. We can say, and this is where I'd recommend you can have parallel agents flying in. So we've got one agent running in here. This one over here, we can archive. We can have another agent here. A member was able to create an invoice. We need to make sure, scan through the entire app and make sure that all permissions and roles block and gate features the right way according to the way that we've set it up according to our plan. And then what we do is we pass in our plan. So plan, counterfire, counting MVP, this one. And you can, you know what I would say even here, probably stop there and do a plan mode, because you're probably going to burn through a hell of a lot of tokens if you do that without planning first. All right. So now it's starting to do a few things. The company for, yep. So even here, so client. So at some point, what would you recommend to avoid technical debt over time? You see what we did today, right? So what I was doing a lot of today is actually spotting those problems beforehand, fixing it like early on, you know, like even that address, awesome stuff. Now we have an address. All right, so let me just check this in. Dev lane, Tesla land. And again, you can have autocomplete here and, you know, build it all yourself. Why did I put S6? Let's do like Tez. No. So I'm just going to pop these in now. Notes. All right. So look, we got that. If we go down to Elon's invoice now and we go to here, look at that. Boom. Nice. Very, very awesome, right? You can even have like, obviously we click on the share link, but oh, look at that. By the way, look how that was real time. That real time changed, right? So I want to show you something now. If we go to clients, this is all real time. So if I went to update their details and say it was 999 dev lane, watch this bit over here. Save, boom, real time. That's clean. That is clean, right? So you can go ahead and even have a PDF generation, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is pretty awesome, right? So this was really, really cool that we got that due date and so forth. I am very happy with this. This has come out so sick. I mean, don't get me wrong, the UI can be massively improved, right? We're going to go ahead and improve that as well. But again, I'm going to burn through a crazy number of tokens doing that on a build like now. But you can see, like, this is already pretty cool. So let's see what we're doing with this. So now we've implemented those fixes. Now the address is pure there. Perfect. Cool. Now, a couple of those other features that we implemented were the recurring invoices. Remember, we had the ability to generate a recurring invoice. So if we do a new invoice, we have the ability to, so how to do recurring invoice is a question. So we added in a bunch of new features like recurring invoice, and also two more, multi-currency and AI receipt scanning. Where are they? How can I access them from the dashboard? So even the receipt scanning, where is that? You see, like drop in a receipt. Where's the AI receipt scanning? We built it. We built the whole thing, but I can't access it. So spin that up, let that go. And even on this one, for example, if I stop this, you could even do this in a, you don't need this to be an opus, right? Like if you were going to exploit, in fact, I would just probably put it in plan mode and just execute it, be a bit more efficient. Okay, now this was spinning off. Composer, yep, that's cool. And permissions audit, so check things out. Now let's check out what's going on. So the problem, currently the only enforced access control is org isolation, yes. Settings route, reports, everything expected org owner, for access accountant, CRUD, viewer. So this is what we've connected, feature gates, fixed strategy, 2 layers, convex backend, security layer, and add permission there. So we've got 2 ways to check it. Permission helper, as well. So this is going to be kind of like a handy permission helper. We don't really want to do organization create. No, we don't want that. You are overcomplicating it with the backend layer. At this point, what we just are going to use is Convex's show function, which you have in layer 2 anyway, and also has when you need to do anything on the server side. Keep it really simple. Don't have any, duplicated things like your layer 1 is complete overkill. Remove it. And this is another example of tech debt, right? If you don't go ahead and, clean this stuff up now, that's going to result in tech debt. Like it will, it's going to cause issues later on, and it's going to be a bunch of headache. And look, now you see, just by putting that in, right? Now it spun up 2 composers instead of Opus. So it saved me tokens, basically, which is effectively like free because Composer is barely using any of my tokens. Whereas if I done that on Opus, I'd be burning through API cost, and it's quite expensive API cost, right? So this is awesome, right? So this is what exists. So we've got all the stuff, but refresh rate every 10 minutes, cool. That's for the crons, currency, feature, effects, right? So fixed basis, right, cool. So where is the stuff? Oh, that's the audit. Okay, so it's still doing an audit. And AI receipt scanning. So it has it. We did build it. We can actually check it. So AI receipt scanner. We have a convex whole function for it. Generate object is also deprecated. We should be using, you can see, should be using another function instead. So this one should be, we can change it on. Also, I did say 5.4 for God's sake. 5.4. Yeah. This is the area where you need to be a bit more intricate. How much does it cost you to follow the AI prompt you done for this, just for this project? So for this project right now, we can assume roughly 82%, 69 minus 82. 13% of a $200 plan on the AI side of things. So you could do 13 divided by 200, 65%, 100 times by about $13, I would say, approximately, if that. I think I don't even think it would have been that really, and I've been a bit gung-ho with this, but the point is that that's me being on the $200 plan. I don't know if it would be considered as $13, but yeah, roughly. Surface recurring invoices. And if you think about dev cost, right, that's so cheap. Like really, when you think about it. And the reality is like, if you're not willing to pay for AI, you're just gonna, this place ain't for you, right? Surface recurring invoices, multi-currency, and ARC scanning, right? Recurring invoices add a dedicated management page and sidebar link. Multi-currency, ARC scanning, improved discoverability, feature is already accessible. Receipt. Okay, so it's saying it's already accessible, but I don't see it. So surface new features, yes. Markup conversion, yeah. So let's go ahead and do that. So build. Dedicated management page, recurring invoices, yes. Improved discoverability. So expense, new expense, upload receipt. Expense. Oh, it's for receipts. Oh yeah, damn it. So I mean, it's gonna start building now, so it's probably gonna start changing things. But if I also would add in loading pages. But I'm very happy already with this. I'm so happy with this already. I think me and Jay will actually probably use this. That's very cool. Add expense. I can't see the receipt scanner, so there's no receipt scanner. It's lying. Unless this is on the gated. No, nope. Unless this is on billing. We're on the business plan. Yeah. It's not there. Show and feature AI receipt scanning is there. So feature AI receipt scanning. Let's double check inside of our Convex. Oops. Configure. Organizations or billing, subscription plans, Let's do feature business. Yeah. AI receipt scanning. AI receipt scanning. AI receipt scanning. Yeah, so it's definitely there, gated with alongside with add expense button. So this business account should have seen it. It was interesting they didn't. So we'll dive into why that was happening. So scan receipt AI. Okay. So, but it just takes me to the expense page. Unless it means if you upload a receipt. Jay, did you send me a receipt? Just out of curiosity, I need that. I need a receipt. If you can send me a sample receipt. Just again, it should have no sensitive data inside of it. Yeah, we need to just get that down. So AI receipt scanning alongside the existing expense one. Interesting. So expenses page. So let's do this in Command P. Expense page. And again, look, this could be massively refactored. Look at this. Oh, this could be refactored so much. In fact, even things like categories. So this can get really big of a build. I'm talking like each organization could have categories that they can create, and that is all going to be stored inside of Convex. You see, like you'd go so far with this. Right now, we've just got hard-coded values, but obviously categories could be different for different, businesses as well as different locations. Like there's so much that this can expand out to. And also this is fluffy as hell. This should not be like this. And also that rule that we defined about a page being a client component initially is 100% valid. I would do a huge refactoring round of making sure that this is the case. Show. Yeah, so I told you, so I can't see the show component here. Add expense. So again, it loves to hallucinate. Wild. Sometimes it really will just hallucinate the craziest stuff. So scan receipt, and now it's added it. Scan receipt. So if we go to expenses, scan receipt. Currency format, I guarantee it's duplicate. I knew it. See, I told you guys, this stuff, terrible. Right, so at this point now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Command D, new agent, and then I'm going to do a plan. I'm going to say, we need to do a complete refactor of bad patterns, meaning repeated code, duplicated code that can be shifted into lib files. I need you to scan the entire code base for opportunities to refactor. This should change nothing functionally. Right. Now what I want to do is I'm going to change this to auto mode. I'm just going to do that as a background task. Right. So let that happen in plan mode on the back now. And this is really like how development changes. You have your initial kind of growth phase, and then afterwards I'll kind of have a huge refactoring phase. And obviously I'd be committing through this. Right now, in the essence of time, I don't want to spend ages on doing that. But zero complex. Okay, so now let's see. So scan receipt. Okay, so now it's asking for a receipt. So Jay's giving me a dummy receipt. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the one that he's given me. Jay, this is like, I'm assuming safe, right? So I'm going to open this up quickly just before. I trust you, but okay. So downloads receipt. Okay, so Jay gave me a receipt. I'm going to click it now, and then it's uploaded it. Okay, then it says scan receipt with AI. So UX problem sucks a bit, but I just click scan, and then let's see what happens. So it's failed to scan receipt, right? OpenAI key is missing. Pass it in the OpenAI key. I have got, Convex. Okay. So I don't have it inside of Convex right now. Makes sense. So I added it to my clerk, but we need to add it to Convex. So here I'm going to go to environment variables, add OpenAI key, and I'm going to add it in here. Now you thought I was going to slip, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to add that in now. And now I have it inside there. So boom. So scan with receipt. And now let's see. It scanned it. Receipt scanned successfully. Category other. Date. Bicycle. 154. East repair. And just to, do you know what? That's actually not bad. Right. So I'm actually, that's actually not bad. I'm going to bring that in and show you guys. So here's the receipt. It'd be cool if it popped up like this on the side, but you can see, look, it done. So we want to actually scan it at a different level so we can add the customer if they're not already there and all that kind of stuff. But in this case, look, amount 154, a vendor, East Repair. So vendor is East Repair Incorporated, notes. Okay, choose file, and it also determined the currency, bicycle repair services and parts. But that's not bad actually, and 3 hours of labor. And you see that, and it actually determined that all from that. So fair play, right? That's not bad, right? And say, for example, if it couldn't determine the receipt itself, then you could modify it, and we can't click into it, which is interesting. So we don't have CRUD functionality for expenses. So even here, you can go ahead and do like, allow that, yeah. So I'm gonna say, we need CRUD functionality for expenses. So boom, put that in next. You see dry refactor scan. So high impact extractions, front end. So let's have a look. So toggle format currency appeared in at least 9 places. I knew it. I told you it would come up. Invoice status types and badge variants. So a bunch of stuff. So docs prefer from Convex generated instead of redeclaring invoice status. Yes, terrible thing that they did. Badge maps as well. Expense categories, duplicate categories, optional at high risk. So the, with a single Convex icon story, it's actually safer. Clerk org ready pattern. So repeated in every client dashboard page and charts. If organization is ready, small hook can return. We'll say instead of doing an org for number 4, we should actually be, refactoring the pages so they're server rendered first, and then at a more granular level, we client render components instead of doing these, checks which are using hooks. It's not good to have client rendered pages by default. We want to stick to server component pages and then only convert it to a client component at a more granular child leaf node. So that means like at a lower level. Continue to put that in the plan. Dashboard charts, shared hook and tiny presentation. Okay, convex layer, small wins. Majority dry abstraction, they need to duplicate, right? So target dry, basic expense categories, verification. So you see what I mean? Like we can do a big kind of like refactor run through. Now over here, we need functionality. It's gonna go ahead and stop doing those out, permissions. Simplified, the plan now has 0. Okay, so that's better now. So we fixed out the plan. This is for RBAC permissions and stuff. All right, so this one now we can build out. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little test here. I'm gonna switch our mode to auto and show you. Before I do that, actually, let's let some work finish off. So this one's done. This one's done, right? So we're gonna commit a safety point here. So I'm just gonna commit a safety point. So like, let's just, I showed you how to commit properly before, but let's just say for now, I'm gonna commit here. So a safe point, I'm just gonna give a generic commit message. We've done a bunch of work. And yes, we've done it really nice here. And I know I'm gonna break that flow, but it's fine for now. Right, so again here, we're just gonna go ahead and commit. And again, come on, I just wanna commit this stuff for now. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch the model now to auto, just to show you that there is a difference in stuff, but it can also get pretty decent change. Oh, I started doing changes, okay. It's fine, all right, so now like we can just continue on from this point. But yeah, don't do like halfway like I just did. I'm trying to emphasize a certain point here. So this has started to build it, yeah. I mean, I'm in plan mode, so I don't know why it started building, to be fair. I guess it started executing it, so. It just started running, I guess. We shouldn't have done that, typically. But anyway, so let that one stay in Opus for CRUD functionalities. Now for these ones, I'm gonna stick to using the auto mode. So we're gonna do auto. We're gonna go ahead and do build. So let's do that one. So we're triggering that build because I've got a ton of auto credits. Now, even for this one, we've got a plan over here, RBAC permission. Let's do build. And then we're going to go ahead and check these afterwards. Same for this one. Now, while this stuff is happening, so we can come back and check on it afterwards, I'm going to show you the next sort of rough step. Now, you've seen the flow, right? We've got a point to a very strong point already. Now, even recurring, like that's actually the view, no recurring invoices from any invoice detail page. So if we go to an invoice, this one, let's say, for example, this invoice, look, make recurring. So say this was a weekly order of Model X plaid with seat covers. Create recurring schedule, a recurring weekly schedule created successfully, right? And then if I go over here, it doesn't show the weekly recurring. It probably should, we can add that. But if you go to recurring here, look, we have a recurring every single week. It will create this, do it. So now I want to check this. So if we go over to Convex, this actually happens inside of schedules. So look, that's awesome. So a process schedule here. So if we click it now, function calls. So now what this will do is this will go ahead and it will schedule or go through all of the different invoices in every single business and basically issue them. So it will go through and it will issue everything. So you can do it a couple of ways. I would probably do it per job if I was to actually push this to production, right? Like if I was to run this function right now, it runs through schedule ID. Okay, so it has a way of flowing, right? There's a whole flow to this that is built out. But the point is this will go ahead and every week, next run on the 10th, it will go ahead and do it. Okay. And you can go ahead and cancel that. And then now it's been canceled. And if we hit refresh, you can see it used to be a thing, but it was canceled. And maybe we can have a delete and so forth. Now let's check the audit log as well. We had an audit log. Remember we can't actually see our audit log, but look at this already. Our graph's looking a bit better. We've also got this. Our expense by category is not showing which categories. That's an issue. Invoices, clients, net income. Look at that. It's already started to calculate things. You can go really deep on the accounting side. Okay. You can actually make it do like all the crazy stuff of like, you know, profit and balance sheets and all that. I'm not going to get into it too far because you might be in the US, which is different to me and so forth. And I don't want to, you know, do that too much. We also got another receipt for testing that Jace just sent through. So I'm going to do a quick little expense test now. So I'm going to scan a receipt. I'm going to do this and I'm going to I'm going to go ahead and pick that one. So I clicked on the receipt that Jay sent and now you can see, look, it's uploading it. Its receipt is uploaded. We can scan the receipt with AI and let's see if it does it. So done. So it done it. So $325, purchase a wireless premium headphone, portable power bank and express shipping fees. So again, you can convert this into line items and then also maybe make it pick from the specific thing like category and so forth. The amount, the vendor as well was unknown here, which is interesting because in the screenshot that Jay showed me, it did say the vendor, I believe. So if I go to the actual Finder and I show you the actual file. So here you can see that we have, oops, what have I done? What have I done? 1 minute. Did I? Okay, I've done some silly mistake there. But if we went to expenses, we added CRUD functionality, by the way. So now we can actually modify an expense. But yeah, just to anyway highlight it, when it scanned it, it got this in the description. So I would probably extend this now and basically say to AI, all right, I want you to show the different line items for each expense. So it's extra clear. You know, your accountant may want that. For example, the $325 was correct. It said bill to, but it didn't show the vendor, correct. It didn't actually show the vendor, right? This is more of a template. That's why I didn't show the vendor. And also it should determine based on what you bought, what the category is. So you can do that. It's very, very simple to do that. And again, even the mobile responsiveness now, we can go ahead and change that up as well. But look at this expense that we can see the receipt itself right now. I don't know why that's done a picture of the App Store. Oh, it's because I added that in, right? So remember, you can attach receipts. So for example, if we have the bicycle repair one, so if we click into that now, let's have a look. So bicycle repair, it's rendering. I think there's code changes happening on the back. Yep, there is. There's tons happening. So So recent invoices table, that's why it's taking a while. In this case that we can see we need content functionality. Did it do that one? Did it say it? So it did the CRUD functionality. For this one, it's on 1 of 8. So this is doing a huge refactor right now. So look at that. And this is all on auto, by the way. And auto, if I show you, if we go to my quota, look, cursor settings, billables. Look at my auto. Auto is tiny, guys. Look, 2%, which is absolutely fine. Burn through it. I don't care. Like, balance speed recommended for most tasks, right? And this will just fly through. Like, obviously, again, I would creating content TSX files and thin server wrappers. What is that? Invoices, content, reports, content. So these are like wrappers, I guess. Okay, again, so yeah, you would really have to check it. If you did do this route, I would thoroughly check it to make sure that, you know, things are okay. But again, like this is just kind of highlighting a bit of a demo here, right? Even here, if we just carry on, RBAC permissions. So again, you guys can see for yourself, there is speed versus quality trade-offs, right? You got to kind of pick which one you kind of want. Are you using OpenRoute for AI? If not, what model is doing the job? I might have missed it. Tonkes, right now, this is just using an auto for in cursor, which is basically figuring out a model that, you know, on its own accord. But if you did want to, you can actually connect OpenRoute, I believe, to cursor. But no, I use typically just the OpenAI key for the app. So the app that we're doing right now, this is just got an OpenAI key that I generated beforehand. And also, my CPU seems to be going a bit wild here. So I'm going to kill my arc. Whoa. Oh my God, I freaked out because I thought I was running. When I did that, oh my God, I thought I killed the stream. Damn. Receipt scanning, I'm using GPT-5 straight API key, right? Because I usually have it open on the side so I can see the chat. But to be fair, I don't need to see the chat. Jay's said both was still good, thank God. Wow, that was crazy. No, Jay, we're not going to give our own one. That's our own receipt. No, I'm not going to put that. But so, okay, we're back. Whew, that freaked me out. I was like, no, we're doing so good. And then I screwed it up. Okay, so a couple of final checks before we begin to conclude on the tutorial. But right now it's doing lots of changes. And again, how good are those changes? I don't know, because this is kind of, again, like this is blazing through it a bit too quick, which means that like, I have a feeling it's just not doing that great of a job at this, to be fair. But we can see that name is let's define multiple times. Ugh. Reports content, what is it doing? So if we were to look at, for example, reports content, and this just goes to show you as well, Composer is slopping this out. Yeah, so reports content is low. What is that? Look at that. You see, look, skip, skip, skip. This is horrible. No. Okay. So at this point, I would stop, right? So I'll tell you what, that was a good test actually to show you guys what's going on. So that is my advice. Can you see how, yeah, we got some speed out of it. Yeah, it would be super cheap, but look at what it did. It was horrible. So we're going to undo those changes. We're going to confirm and undo that. We're going to go back, even for the RBAC changes. Let's just undo it for now. We're aware of how we would fix that, undo and confirm that, right? So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. And then as well, just as a safety precaution, you see here, if we refresh, I have all these dangerous changes. We're going to just undo those. Let's discard all 14 changes, right? And now, because I've been committing, right, you see how I can just safely do that? And I'm basically back to our safe area. And now if I go back to our app, we're safe, okay? So this is what I want to show you, like really important that you commit before you do stuff like that. Like if I didn't commit at those checkpoints, it would have been a disaster, okay? Now, again, a couple of bugs which I'm going to explain how to fix, but you can pretty much do them because we've done the majority of the hardest possible stuff here. So the rest of it is fairly easy to do, but you can basically plan on how to get this all, you know, mobile responsive super nicely and so forth. It works like that, but if you were to close it here, you got this like overlapping issue, which is not very nice. So I would go ahead and fix that. The way I would do it, simple. I would just prompt AI and say, the sidebar right now is not working correctly when it's closed, and also it's not being correctly implemented. You can see this weird jankiness. I'd fix that, and I'd say, follow the correct approach. And also when you're doing any mobile responsiveness, basically say, use container queries. It's a lot more responsive than using CSS media queries, okay? Or like Tailwind media queries, container queries, okay? So we've got the scanning, we've got the recurring invoices, scanning receipts, we can add clients, we can add expenses, we can go ahead and we've got the full invoice flow, which is really, really clean. Again, UI, I'm not gonna dive into too much. You can feel free to really, like that's the easy part of this build, right? I think you guys can see for yourselves today, right? Even here, like if we do this, we can delete. And again, I would probably add in a, are you sure you wanna delete? The audit log as well, we can't actually see, and that is interesting actually. The audit log, I'm actually gonna check right now. So here, where is the audit log, right? Because we did actually build that. So that we should be seeing. So okay, so at this point, there is no app page that references audit logs. Company dashboard shows it. To expose them, you call the app audit logs. Let's query from here. Okay, so interesting. So add that page for admins, right? So I guess like you could go ahead and have it in that approach, but if we wanted to actually check it on a core level, what's the music playlist? Hey, everyone loves the music playlist, right? It's the Papa Fan playlist. Jay has actually added in a, what's it called? Has added in the link in the description. He'll pop it in the chat right now. And also correct, Delvis says, OCR and any small model could handle the intake of receipts. Yeah, GPT-5.4 is complete overkill for the invoices scanning, right? So you really can use whichever mini or nano, but I would test it as well, right? There you go, Jay sent the playlist. Right, but if we go into Convex, the backend, and we go over here, right, so here, for example, and no, where is it gone? Dashboard, let's just go straight to dashboard. And let's go to Countify. And then let's go to data. And already, okay, so we've got lots of stuff going on, function calls. Let's see. My swiping doesn't work, which is really annoying. Expenses list. So we've got a caching lot. Audit logs here. You can see like expense deleted, expense client created. So we do have the audit log working, and like details of what happened, what changed, and so forth. If we were to add in an audit log, let restrict it and so forth. So if we were to view the plan, so redirect non-admins with admin has permission, mention, same predicate as the entry is, and then convex defense in depth, you can use the same check as well. Basically very, very simple. Then you just add in a show check to make sure that they would see it or not. Quite a simple thing to do. If we were just to try and build it on auto, let's see if auto can do that, right? But in the meantime, I want to run through your deployment. Now, if you were to go to deployment afterwards, what you'd effectively do, change this to production. You would then need to go into your settings. Your environment variables would be clear. So remember, you'd have to have separate environment variables for your production environment. Like Clerk would have separate keys. Your OpenAI obviously would have a separate key as well. So if we were to go to, for example, Clerk then, to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and log in. Just make sure I'm logged in because I closed all of my stuff. Now, let me just 1 minute. Okay, well, here we are. So then you would go to development, you'd go create production instance, clone the development instance, right? It's the easiest way. And then you see upgrade your plan. So we would have to upgrade our plan at this point to go ahead and do that. Because we've got a bunch of like super paid features, right? So like it wouldn't be that expensive to be fair, maybe $20 a month if we really wanted to. But again, we're building an organization app. you can expect users to be paying, like one user would cover the cost of Clerk, right? So that's the thing that I want you to bear in mind, okay? So like the cost dynamics are amazing. So definitely factor that in. Even here for billing, like you can see, prime example, like say from 2 users, one on the business plan already pulling in $8.39 with a rough monthly recurring of $70. So the $20 would be absolutely nothing, right? So at this point, if you were to go to production, you simply toggle that, and then you would have your different API keys. So you'd have a different set of API keys. You would have to go ahead and do a different webhook. So again, for Convex and also for here, you do a different webhook. The error failed because of the first one. We can actually delete that now, or there you go. But that's the reason why it's not a good error rate. So you'd go ahead and do that as well. And then you would go ahead and if you did duplicate, so remember when we did this, to clone development instance, this would clone the organization roles, the payment plans, all that kind of stuff, like the billing, all that as well. And then in the settings for the billings, once you're on production, you'd simply go to here, Stripe account, create or connect an existing Stripe account. And that is how you would connect to a real payment processor at that point. And it would handle all of the connection, everything for you, right? And then if you want to deploy your app, it's super simple. You basically will go ahead and do, did this do this? Oh, I built it, right? So let's just double check. So did it actually build that feature? Let's have a look. So localhost. And audit log. So I'm an admin. So for some reason mine's being super slow. But forbidden. So yeah, okay. And I had a feeling this would happen. So server forbidden convex audit logs. So it's probably done some stupid thing here. Page. So we have this audit log content again. Like this is happening very clearly because of the model, right? We have quite a complex few set of rules in place. So even here, like if context org row is, that's not the case, right? We don't need to do that. We already have a check at a higher level. So if we were to get rid of that now, there's no audit log content over here as well. This one is happening because of, and that's because of a redeployment issue, I guarantee. So use audit log.list. List. So running TypeScript, pushing, uploading functions. There you go. Now if we hit a refresh, there we have it. So for an admin, you will now see this, an audit log. Super nice. And you can see like details of it, and of course you can expand it and so forth. But this would be really handy as an admin to be able to come in and be like, okay, this audit log's happening and so forth. Organization created. This was created by the system. So this is an example of the webhooks that kicked off. This is an example of the users. And the user shows the user ID here. However, you can go ahead and very simply have a simple check, which basically just shows the actual person. So it'd be like, Sunny did this, Jay did this, Sarah did this, Andy did that, right? And so forth. And you can have their rows and so forth. So you really can go so awesomely deep with this, right? It's amazing. Like, but this has been awesome. I think this has been one of my favorite builds to actually have built on this channel. I'm super happy with it. I'm actually going to undo those changes because I don't like what it did, to be honest with you. But you guys can see as a prime example of that's how you would implement that function. So with that said, we've pretty much hit the end. So what I'd recommend at this point is I'm just going to show you how you would do a deployment. Oops. Show you how you do a deployment, and then we can pretty much go forward, right? So at this point, you want to go ahead and create a new terminal. You simply would install the Vercel CLI. I have not got the Vercel CLI. It's a new machine, so it's a great opportunity for you guys. So Vercel CLI, you can install Vercel CLI in a bunch of ways. You can install it with PNPM. Right, well, I could do it that way actually. PNPM I-G. I don't actually have PNPM set up. Ah, this is a new machine. That's why I'm seeing this. All right, if I wanted to do that, I think you can do it with Homebrew as well, to be fair. But let me quickly do that right now. So I'm going to do my own. But while I'm doing that, feel free to go ahead and ask me questions. Okay? So ask me questions while I'm doing this right now. I'm just going to go ahead and get this up and running. And then, and just like that, I've got it set up. I mean, it's fairly easy to install PNPM right now. Yeah, the reason why I didn't do it is because, or like I done it, but I didn't show the screen. Is I just didn't want to show my folder structure XYZ. In case ZSH or something popped up, something crazy. On a live stream, you get really paranoid. That's why I didn't do it, dude. But yeah, no, you're right. It's super quick. How do you find Opus 4.6? Love it. I'm very excited for what they come out with afterwards. So after we've done that, Vercel, and this will prompt typically a login. So at this point, there we go. I'm going to log in. I believe the account that I've done most of my stuff on was my personal. So let's just do the personal login. Authenticating. And then we've got this right here. So boom, let's go ahead and log in. Enter the following. Go and do that. Install the Vercel plugin. Yes. And again, Vercel plugin is awesome because, not for core code, but it's basically the plugin which allows our agent to be able to do the stuff connected to Vercel. So that's very, very good. Okay. Now, after that, I'm going to go ahead and do the following. Boom. Come back here. Set up and deploy. So yes. And then Sunny Sanger's projects. Existing project. No. What's your project name? Da, da, da. Okay. And now do this. Want to modify the settings? No. Change additional project settings. So no, I think if you could at that point maybe do the environment variable file. So here, what I'll do is, oh no, okay, I need to invalidate an OpenAI key. I need to do that right now. Platform the OpenAI. I just showed a key on screen, and that is what you gotta be careful of, guys, in your life. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go ahead and revoke that key. So I've revoked it. Done it. Okay. So anyway, that key is dead now. So basically you would copy your environment file, go over to Vercel, right? And then at this point where we've got the inspect, you want to click that, pop it in. We've got code with Arhan. What's up, dude? Welcome to the stream. And then you want to go over here. They got their new layout. You want to go down to your settings. You want to go down to environment variables. And then here, add environment variables. You have different environments. So obviously production, preview, deployment. Right now, just to show you guys, you can just paste that in. It will show this is a dead key. Don't bother. You'll waste your time, right? Now at this point, once you've done that, you click on save and then you redeploy. And just like that, you would have gone ahead and basically deployed the build. Now I'm not going to do it fully because I want you guys to go ahead and, you know, I don't want to get just spammed out with stuff. Right, but basically you do that, and then if it passes the build, everything's good. Now at this point, I have a feeling the build's gonna fail. Yep, I had a feeling. So in this case, you can also do a local build by doing Vercel build, and you can do Vercel pull. So we can actually do no. You could pull the environment variables, but system variables will not be available. Build not running on Vercel. So at this point, you can also do a local build. Right now, chances are this will fail because I don't know if it will pull my environment local files. I think it will, but here, yeah. Now you can see we've got some issues. So you just want to go ahead and fix these. For example, here, data.tax amount. You can go ahead and just do some nullification. So, oh no, actually, you need to do the old school way there. Come on. On that. Yeah, there you go. Even here, you can do the same. And then Vercel. We have a few linting issues. I mean, I don't trust that, to be fair. A lot of the time, they don't show or update correctly. Ronaldo says, yo, Pop Fam just came in. Kampala says, hello, locking in now. What's up, dude? Code with Arhan, thank you for checking in. All good. Tonker says, you made me change from GrepDart to CodeRabbit when I saw your latest CodeRabbit video. I must say it's been the best swap recently. Nice, dude. Jay, screenshot that. We can actually show the guys over at CodeRabbit. That's awesome, dude. Yo, screenshot, that's huge. Amazing stuff. And look, you can see that built now. So all you would then need to do is do the environment variables, copy them over to your deployment, and then run Vercel. And if you run Vercel normally, it would go ahead and basically just deploy it to preview. But if you do Vercel --prod, you go ahead and deploy to production. And there you have it. That is it, guys. Once you've done that, basically, like I said, you would switch over to production instance. And then if you go to your Vercel CLI, you can do all the configuration settings like your domain, all that stuff. So like build and deployment, your domains would be, I believe, over here. So you click on domains and then you can go ahead and build it out from there. So like here, you can go ahead and buy, connect an existing domain and so forth. All right. So then they'll run you through those steps to go ahead and get your website up and running. So it's that simple. Like, honestly, I know it took like 3 hours, 45, but we did everything from scratch, like everything from scratch. And I'm so impressed with what we came out with. It's nuts. Like, just highlighting some of the key points that we might have like flown over really quickly is if I go over to Clerk, I just want to kind of highlight what we did with them, because it's really easy to overlook how much they take care of really well. Like, I'm not just saying this. Yes, I work with Clerk. They're awesome. Like, we've been working together for a while, but truly, I've not actually had a more favorite tech company than Clerk, period. They're just awesome. The features, I use them in production all the time. Like, I use them in production. They're incredible. Also, Eamon, came across your channel, mate. Love the content. Hey, shout out, dude. Appreciate you. But just for things like authentication, it's incredible. Like, simple to use, fast to get in there. It allows me to focus on the app. And then the same with the multi-tenancy, like really just killer stuff. Like this whole multi-tenancy flow we did today, from literally, you can customize all those components, by the way, right? From the auto joining, you can actually add auto join. So if they say, for example, join from @papareact.com, then it would automatically let them into the organization. For example, the invitation flow, all of that we did, right? The entire custom roles and permission, we set up the entire thing today. You guys saw for yourself. And we also did subscription billing. And on top of that, they even had, so going over to subscription billing, heading over here. I'm just wondering, am I over here on this page? Oh, hopefully soon, right? But over here on subscription billing, if we go down, you guys can see that we've got the show component that has over here as well. And then, like I said, look, they're even the same cost as Stripe directly. So you might as well use them. That's kind of the crazy part, right? I mean, I always mention to people, it's just so much better. So if you go down here as well, they even have per seat billing. 16 hours ago, they changed this. So now this is live. This is actually live right now. We implemented it today. So nuts. We have a few questions here. Kindly share the source code of the build. Absolutely. Jay, I will get that set up after this. Anzi says, just a question mark. If employers see Claude Code as a contributor in a repo, would you say as a turn off, love to stream? Really depends on, look, in the end of the day, build a ton of apps, right? Get really good with understanding the architecture, and then be honest and be like, yes, I use AI coding tools, but let me run you through some of the things I built and some of the design architecture decisions that I would necessarily look for. That is going to be huge. Oh, Federico just sent 50 Sunny Sanga gift memberships. Yo, let's go. It's a party now. That is awesome. Tungus goes crazy how easy it was to set everything up. I might check out Convex's implementation of Stripe, since Stripe is not very developer friendly, in my opinion. Guys, remember, you don't have to go through Stripe directly anymore. Just use Clerk's Billing. Trust me, just use Clerk Billing. I've used it in production. It's so clean and awesome. Like, I love it. It just takes everything out of there. Frederick, yo, Jay, screenshot that. That's absolutely awesome, dude. It's so cool to see. If I let me see if I can show you what I see on my screen. Oh, it's a bit hard to show you. I can't, but it's awesome. He gifted everyone in the chat huge memberships. 50 memberships, dude. That's pretty damn huge. Wow. Thank you so much, Federico. Absolutely incredible stuff, guys. A quick little demo to kind of, wrap up what we did today. And I will push the code. Of course, like I said before, the UI side of things is not really, the main concern. You can really, like, I've shown that plenty of times before, like you can change it so easily, right? You can really like do a couple of prompts, change it and get the whole thing looking beautiful, right? But the main approach here was the architecture, getting everything down, getting everything connected, getting tenant isolation was the important part as well, making sure that we had that protector side of things. And then we had the Convex Helpers, which was totally amazing way to, get things done. But in this case, look, we've got a very simple landing page, right? Again, you can feel free to do that yourself. If we were to log in, I just want to check one thing. So if we have two instances open, so let's have one person logged in on that side, and I'm going to have another person logged in on this side. So I'll need to switch account here. So let's go ahead and log in to a separate account over here. I don't know why I did the opposite, a bit silly. But let's log in to this account. So for example, this PapaFam account, okay? So this URL, this member should not be able to access this now. So this person, 381, yep, they're not. So you see that? They tried to go there and then they get redirected and nothing was shown on the screen. Yeah, and nothing was shown because it happens at a server render level. Federico, he goes, you are the best in the world. I appreciate you so much, dude. Absolute beast. That was huge. Awesome, man. You absolutely made my day. So thank you so much for that. And also, guys, the retention today has been awesome. You guys are incredible. I love you all. Smash that thumbs up button. You know how we got to end this, right? We got to end this the only way we know. And also, I didn't feel well today before a live stream, but I feel so much better now thanks to you guys. So thank you so much. As always, I appreciate all of you guys. Feel free to check out this build. Sign up to Clerk using the first link in the description. It allows me to do this stuff for free. So please go ahead and do that. Like literally sign up to that, like the video, share it, do everything you can to support the channel, including subscribe if you haven't already. And Anze says, thanks for the feedback on Cloud Code, man. I appreciate it. I built a lot already. And please, guys, before I forget, go and sign up to this forum right now. Look at the energy in the community today. You guys are so sick. I love it, right? So get everyone together. This is the community where everyone's going to be joining in. We have a huge coaching call side of things where I'm going to be jumping on calls every week to teach you guys. My voice is going. And I'm going to be talking all about how I have AI agents running the business, how I'm going to make you guys do it, how you guys can get all the latest stuff up to date, all the best patterns, the things that I do when I code with AI these days. And I'm coding a ton of stuff, but it's crazy. But yeah, hit that up right now. All right, I appreciate it. I built a lot already. CLI engine and Zig backend and Go. Deploying all on GCP. Love the videos. Learned a lot from you, Anze. Dude, absolutely awesome stuff, man. Sign up to that. Second link in the description. Sign up to Clerk. First link in the description. As always, guys, it's your boy Sunny, aka Papa Rat back in the day, but aka Sunny from the Papa Fam, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.